Hello, how you doing? It's Sunday evening. It's just gone 7 minutes past 9 o'clock in old London town. Well, just a smidgen out of it anyway. Welcome to Wicked Women. Bit of a different show tonight. We have a different crew. The lovely Val, that's always my little wicked coming in from Virginia. She has to do some stuff. So we have a different crew with us tonight. We have Michael and we have the lovely Georgie. So I have there's two Brits tonight. It makes a change. Normally there's more Americans than there is on the British side. So yay, Team Britain tonight. How's your week been? Hope it's been a really, really, really good week. I've had quite a difficult one. In fact, I didn't even know we were going to do a show tonight because I pulled my back really, really bad on Friday lunchtime and I had to literally be taken to the osteopath. Oh my God. So it's been, Georgie's been great. She's been helping me. So I'm so grateful to her for me to even be sitting here to do a show tonight. So thank you, Georgie. So I'm sitting here with a hot water bottle right now and a puppy, which I hope is going to be quiet. As I say, it's just, we're flying solo without Val tonight. We are coming in live from London, Virginia as well, with the lovely Michael, and we have a great show for you. So I'm going to bring in actually Michael first, because obviously he's the senior one who's been here quite a lot. So let's bring him in. Hello, Michael.
Good evening, gorgeous. Like I said, the technical difficulties between medical and just the gremlins is crazy, and I'm sitting here trying to figure out what's going on.
You look fabulous. You look fabulous. You obviously do. Thank you for coming in and being my co-pilot tonight, along with the lovely Georgie, which I'm about to bring in. But I appreciate that. How are you doing? How's your week been?
It's been interesting. Doctor's appointments for the VA and just trying to get there and trying to keep my back in shape. With the dogs and and the critters. But I think Scotty, the Wicked family. He's recovering from what I just saw, which is good to know before we go live that Scotty made it out of the he's missing some he's missing a few bits, but
as Scotty would say, the show goes on, and we hope that it's not long before he's back out there, and also Robertson to return as well, because I do miss my podcaster hubby. Thank you, Steve. Good to see you here. And I know is watching as well. So I'm going to bring in the lovely Georgie. Hello, love.
Hello, darling. You're right.
How are you?
Very good, very good. I'm very busy, as you know.
You've been my little nursemaid for the last couple of days.
Absolutely. I would have done nothing else. I mean, I was on my way up to see you on Friday anyway. Yeah. And then it's become a weekend, which is great.
It has. It's been, there I was, and the dog sitter was upstairs with me trying to get me straight. Oh my God. But anyway, we're here. We have a really good show tonight. We are actually coming from different areas. We did Wicked Women a couple of seasons ago. Actually, we did cover something similar, but we're looking at a very different version of Obsession tonight, probably in 3 different angles. And I know, Georgie, you will have some experience of this because you and I both work Comic Cons. We both do. I with the car, you've been doing it for a lot longer. And the one thing I've noticed, and Mark has noticed, and with no disrespect to anybody, there is a lot of obsession and fan worship with celebrities, and to the point that when we did one recently, there was a lady that just literally completely lost it, collapsed on the floor, overtaken by emotion. And it was like, her heart was pounding and everything. And there are some that go the full Monty and try and look like their favorite celeb, dress like their favorite celeb, which I think is a wonderful compliment. But I wonder if it's a little bit far.
Oh, no. What do they say? Flattery is, what is it? Imitation is the best form of flattery.
What do you think,
Georgie? So from my personal experience, it's been interesting, to say the least, to see the way that different people will act and react to certain situations. So for me, I started off going to conventions, and then I thought, well, there's actually a lot of work to be done, and I'm very much, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a helper, and I ended up I ended up being a volunteer for a while. And then from being a volunteer, I then met my friend who is an agent, and I then work with him directly with the guests. So I have met so many guests at this point, whether that be me going to see them for myself or if I'm sat with them at a table. Now, I know in the past I've been sat with one of the guests and someone comes up and it's intense. It's so intense because you have someone who they've dedicated their entire life to this person. I have seen guests tattooed on people's bodies. Their faces are on people's bodies. And it's not a character, it's the individual themselves. And it's mind blowing. It really is to have a fan base who's so dedicated like that. But you've got to wonder if there's a line somewhere that shouldn't be crossed.
Well,
Yes,
was it a couple of
because-
years ago? There was a lady that had too much to drink that was obsessed with the car. You know, Wendy knows what I'm talking about because I was on the phone with her, and she thought it would be okay to come down and get drunk and jump on the hood of the car or the bonnet, where y'all from, and it was an absolute manic episode because they had to put more security around the Huntress to keep people from like jumping. You know, it just wasn't a person, or you know, if people don't know, supernatural is like a big thing, and that's where the car's from. And she was so infatuated with the Huntress because she, you know, that's like Sam and Dean's car. She wanted a picture of her on the hood of the car, and she did quite a bit of damage to it. I remember I was on the phone with Wendy, and it went manic for a while, and they to the point where they was going to have somebody sleep in the car to keep people off the hood.
Yeah, it was going to be Mark.
Yeah, and I'm like holy hell, you know. But she was just thinking in her mind, I know this car so well. This car wants me on the bonnet. And the reason I say bonnet
she
is
does not.
because it was in Basingstoke. You know,
Oh, wow. Okay.
I know.
I also think as well, Michael's got a point there, that because when does reality, I mean, I'm, don't get me wrong, I'm using Supernatural as we were talking about it. Let's use Supernatural and Doctor Who, the two different series. People in the 70s, Dukes of Hazzard, Bionic Man, Bionic Woman, etc., etc. Wonder Woman. People, Marvel. You know, it doesn't matter what you're looking at. People it becomes their life because it touches something in them that makes them feel alive, makes them feel like they can be that. I mean, there was a lovely people at the Comic-Con, and they were dressed in Batman and the Joker and all kinds of various different outfits. And, you know, and I think that's amazing. I think it's amazing that these movie or TV programs come along, they touch our lives, and the next thing you know, we're like, you know, I want to be them. You know, I want to be them. When I was younger, I'm trying to think of a series when I was younger that actually I wanted to be one of the heroines, and I honestly think it was Doctor Who. I wanted to be a companion. I wanted to be a companion so badly. And it was like, you know, in my head, I'd be like, oh my God, the TARDIS would be great. But when I got the Impala, I never expected to discover how much the car is so beloved. And, you know, we've had, you know, as you say, people who are very obsessed with the car. And there are a few of them in the UK. It's not just mine, there's a few of them. But I do wonder that when you see them dress like their character, and they you know, they bring lots of, you know, I wonder if there's a line where the stars or celebs, whatever you want to call them, go, oh God, right? Or, you know, they're used to it. I know that they're used to it. So I wonder if this is something that they think. Georgie, do you think that some of them do feel like that?
I think when, again, with the dedicated fan base, you're going to have certain people who have been to see them. I know of some people who go to every single convention that an individual is at throughout the year, and they do it every year, which is first off very costly. But also they get to the point of thinking that the guest knows them on a personal level, but
They're
they
mates.
don't. They see thousands of people, hundreds in a day, and the idea of you being remembered by a specific individual for a specific interaction, which is in your brain, and you think, "Oh my God, this is amazing." They go through that multiple times in a day, so it just becomes a normal occurrence for someone. I mean, the classic one is, "You changed my life. You helped me get through this." And all the guests can do is just say, "That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that with me." And again, I've been in the situation where I've been sat with a guest, and that's been the conversation. And there's been a moment where it's got, because we're having fun throughout the day. It's amazing. We're seeing lots of amazing people, and it's all really upbeat and it's all really fun. And then you have an individual who comes in and their story is very, very, very dark. And it happens. I'm not disputing the darkness that happens with everyone. It can.
Yeah.
But there's a time and a place. And I know that you want to say it to them, but it's not necessarily the best thing to do at that time, because then that guest has taken all of that you've just given them, and they're having to process that within about 3 seconds before the next person comes in. So for the guests, it's intense, and even for us who are sat with them, it's intense.
It is. I can see JP is waiting outside to come in. So I know you're there, JP. Don't mind. The beard's gone. I just noticed that.
It could turn into what was the Stephen King movie Misery, where she was so obsessed with the writer that when he had an accident, she nursed him back to health just to hobble him between a block of wood and a sledgehammer. And she said, "I'm doing this for your own good." And I often wonder, I was a big Stargate fan, Colonel O'Neill, and all that. And I always said, I really, really want to meet Amanda Tipping. It's something about blonde hairs and guns. I don't know. But anyway, but now, and I thought, no, you need to get a grip on this. And it reminds me of a story that Scotty actually told about when they did a meet and greet here. The lady who played Diana Troy on Star Trek.
Never meet your heroes.
Never meet your heroes. And he's like, "Oh, where are you going?" Yeah. And she took it because, like I said, it could turn into something really dark really quick. And she's like, "Well, that really is not none of your business." And he holds kind of a grudge towards her to this day. But I get it. If I was a woman and I had been seen on TV in the big screen for a lot of times, and somebody's like, "Oh, where are you going after this?" My red flags would go up really quick, and it'd be like, it's like security, get this fucking idiot away from me.
Well, it's called celebrity worship syndrome, and I want to go back to probably one of the most famous stars on the planet. Everybody knows him, and he'll always be known as the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. There is no one on this planet that will ever probably come up to Elvis Presley, because he was, he is still worshipped by so many people. But there were so many, it's called celebrity worship syndrome. And basically it's like, Mark always says, I don't understand why, I work with them all the time, why, people worship celebs, because they're human beings exactly the same as us. And the only thing is they get paid a hell of a lot more money. But also, I think with Elvis, he was seen as, like a god. Some of these stars are seen as gods. Michael Jackson, Madonna, Prince, just bringing up those ones.
What was it? They said he was like one of the first like male sex symbols, and women just fainted. And that goes back to, biology. It goes back to chemistry, how people's chemistry works. When a person meets them, their endorphins flood so much that it just brings up all of this internal, chemical reactions, and their body has a massive overload and they can't process it. That's how come you see people faint. And And that goes back to, like you said, never meet your heroes. You
No.
know, and you see people, and they wait in line for hours or days. They put their little camping chair
do.
house, like,
And they spend a lot of money. They spend a lot of money.
then when they get up in front of this person that they've seen on screen, and they're not dressed like Dr. McKay or Colonel Shepard, which I know you've met them. Then you get up there and it's like, where's Dr. McKay? This is a man. I forget what his name is. He's a Canadian guy.
Isn't it? Like, because they see the celebrity different to the Georgie, the different to the actual character.
Yeah.
And I just want to bring up here that apparently celebrity worship can cause lots of negative effects as well.
Yeah.
You can have quite low self-esteem, have a lot of people who are very anxious, have a lot of mental health issues, depression, and all of a sudden they see this person and they've taken them to their heart and soul, dress like them, look like them, want to be them, have their tattoos. Now you've got social media everywhere, like you've got no privacy.
And that's the thing with social media, because it's a normal occurrence for you and I to post on social media, because as they're known as celebrities, they then post to say as to what they're doing, where they're going, because they want to show their friends. And then from there, their fans see it. But there's such a danger to that, because you've also got the side of it where if you've got someone who's trying to find where they are, with social media, it's so much easier now. And it's terrifying. And you have it's like a window into their life, and a lot of the time as well, you only see a small portion of what they actually decide to show you. But because that's what you see, you think that's all it is.
I remember my sister in the 1970s was absolutely in love with Les McKeown of the Bay City Rollers. She was convinced she was going to marry him. And she was going to marry him, and she actually begged my parents to let her go to the concert, of which they took her. And she had all the scarf on, and Les, I love you, and I'm going to marry you, throwing herself at him, and literally throwing herself onto the car, as they're trying to get them out, And Penny would have gone off with him, I'm sure, without any shadow of doubt. And then you come back to, obviously, we went through the terrible witch hunt in this country of so many 60s and 70s celebs who got involved with young underage fans, etc., because nobody was checking birth certificates back then. No. And also, they weren't seen. It was seen very, very differently as it's seen today. I mean, back then, and I can agree, in the 80s, if I'd met John Taylor out of Duran Duran, I don't think I would have been showing him my birth certificate. I would be going, John, you know.
That happened. What was it? Beatlemania that came when they came over from the UK here. I need to say hi to Jessica. That's Dave's niece.
Absolutely, the Beatles, the Monkees, the Rolling Stones. I mean, these people, they were worshipped, they're hero worshipped, and I think that they give us good endorphins. We fall in love with them. We become obsessed, some of us. And I want to remember because I want to bring in other forms of obsession, so I'm trying to just bring in the other ones, but do you remember The Bodyguard with Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston? And it was all about a stalker.
You're my hero.
They have to live with stalkers. They have to live with the fact there are people out there that sadly would perhaps go too far with it. And love, they reckon love, obsession, stalking accounts for 20 to 25% of stalking cases. The people that demonstrate this form of stalking are likely to have a mental disorder, either schizophrenia or paranoia. They have low self-esteem. Individuals that are love obsessional stalkers often convince themselves they're in a relationship with the subject of their obsession. For example, a woman has been stalking David Letterman for 5 years, claiming to be his wife when she had no connection to him. Other forms like Jennifer Aniston, Halle Berry. And of course, one of the famous ones, which Michael, I'm going to get you to talk about, is Jodie Foster. Tell us about Jodie Foster's stalker.
Jodie Foster. she was a child star, which really makes it really creepy. And I remember I was in second grade here, and they brought and to roll the TVs in back in the day. We didn't have TVs in the classroom like we do now. They had to get the AV guy
Hey,
front
it
row
was
for
the
front
same
of the
in the
library.
Maltese as well.
So they roll it in, and and you're thinking, I was little. It's like, oh, really? We get to see, Sesame Street, or whatever. And they said the president was shot. And it's not like now when something happens. These people, because that was unheard of. And it's like, oh, well, why did he, put two, small caliber rounds in Reagan? And come to find out, he was so obsessed with Jodie Foster, he thought if he could kill a sitting president, that she would love him. Well, he just made parole here a while back too. They turned him
Wow.
on the street, and
No.
oh yeah, it was. Let me, I have
It's
to
interesting you
Google it.
say that because Taylor Swift has just, she's another one that's just had to deal with that because I believe, I'm just bringing it up now, there was, where is it?
Well, like I said,
John Lennon, of course, was killed by Mark Chapman.
Yeah.
He was a stalker of John Lennon, and I mean, literally, he was on his way home to see his little boy, and the next thing you know, he never actually made it. So
yeah, he got shot in front of, what was it, Yoko Ono? Because
Yeah.
Oko was with him when he got shot. So
Sandra Bullock has a stalker as well. People like George Harrison. I want to come down to Miley Cyrus. There are a lot of people, and as a celeb, I know it's part and parcel of your private life is out there.
Yeah.
How terrifying to have a stalker. How terrifying to know that there's someone out there that's watching you on everything you do and maybe following you, and that would scare the hell out of me, and it would certainly put me off being a celebrity.
That's like we had said the other day, when things happen here in this country, anytime you put yourself out as a public figure, even what we're doing right now, somebody could take offense to what you say, and they could be obsessed with, screw Mike, I want to deal with him. I don't like his opinion. And, no bigger than what subscribers we have or whatever. I've got a few messages, and at first, it kind of like screwed with me here. I'm like, what did I do? I would never do anything to harm Wicked Women or Wendy or Val or anything. These ladies, I'm the biggest opponent. And Wendy has told people he will grab people in the airport, planes, trains, and automobiles. And I'm thinking, what if I did say something that was wrong or that could come back towards, the Wicked Women brand? And I think I called Jason late. I'm like, dude, did I fuck up? What did I do? And he's like, no. Hey, if you'd have done that, Wendy would already be, been on you for that. You'd already know. And, and where we got 5 hours time difference, I'm up all night waiting for her to get up so I can call her. It's like, hey, did I say something wrong last night? And it was, but like I said, but come to find out, somebody from California, no figure, right? It basically told me, oh, you're a misogynist, you hate women and all this. I'm like, I'm on a podcast, by women, for women, with a male input. I said, I must be doing something right. And she's like, oh, no, you're hateful towards, and like I said, and it got into my head because that is not what I am. And I'm like,
I know you're quite upset about that, and that is the risk when you're out there. There is going to be, someone who's got a point.
But like I said, I had thought what scared me was that I had hurt Wendy and Val's, building something. I'm not really worried that they show up to my door. I got 2 big old mean dogs, and a really big son. I'll send them right out. It's like, here, y'all go take care of that. But no, but you never know. People can be obsessed. And it's crazy. And I was looking at the 10 creepiest real life, and women that stalk people. And most of them, when you think stalker, you think male, predator. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But the things that I've seen with the women, female stalkers, they are sometimes a whole lot more.
It's mad, isn't it?
There's a whole lot more time and thought put into it.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? That there is somebody out there plotting, thinking, waiting, watching, wondering this, that, and the other. I mean, Justin Bieber was apparently in 2012 an uncle and nephew duo were arrested for a plot to murder and castrate the singer. And you
Jesus.
actually think, what the hell? Why
How do you come up with shit like that?
why are these people
I,
even
I
thinking these things?
I
I've got
know.
a life, I've got things to do, I've got that. I don't need to think
Yeah,
about
you,
doing stuff like that.
you got a big old bastard you got to hoover behind, about like me here, I got other things in my day other than thinking, his music sucks that bad, let's put an end to this.
But I mean, I also, let's change that for 1 second. Let's look at love obsession, because that's the other one we wanted to look at tonight. It was the fact that you have, there's lots of different versions, and there is healthy obsession as well. There is healthy obsession. We will look at that before we end the show, but let's look at love obsession. You are dating someone, you're married to them, you are completely into them. You should look at that one first. You're completely into them, and then they decide that they don't want you anymore. It's not going anywhere. It's done. It's dusted. It's over. And you can't get it out of your head.
Yeah, it's dead on one side. Yeah,
let it go. It's like, but you do love me. But I know you love me really. Maybe if I wait, it'll come back. Maybe. It sounds. I have been there. All of us at one time in our lives have probably been there and gone, you know what? He'll love me. He'll come back. Now I just it's a very different person. But back when I was younger and probably more insecure, it was like, if I wait long enough, or if I do everything right, if I say everything right, if I look amazing, if I wait enough, they will come back. And sometimes they do, only to leave again, or sometimes they don't. And I think, Georgie, let's look at that. You know more than anyone, your experience of someone who doesn't take no for an answer.
Yeah. So for me, this was about 10 years ago now. I was in a relationship that was not good. It was not a good relationship whatsoever. I knew that I shouldn't be in the relationship whatsoever. I wanted out. It was 3 years. And throughout that time, I was thinking, I need out. But every time I tried, it would be, oh, but you're wrong. But this will work. We can make it work. So the first couple of times you go, okay, all right, maybe I'm wrong. Let me try. But I got to a point of going, no, I'm done. This is wrong. I don't want this anymore. I do not want this. We're done. And try to do the whole, right, we can still be friends afterwards, and that's fine. And he would send me messages saying, I love you, I miss you, can I come see you? And I'm like, no, I don't want that right now. I really don't. So from there, because I then cut him off, he started to leave things outside my house. So it would just be stupid things like a pizza, and he'd be like, leave a note, I got you a pizza, or something like that. It'd be like a £2 frozen pizza from Lidl or something like that. And then there was it was stupid things like a pancake bottle shaker thing which was left on my car, or there was a card left on my card and things like that. And in the end, I went, okay, I need to stop this. He's not listening to me. I can't do this. So he knew where I lived and he knew where I worked, and I knew that I'd be able to change where I worked quicker. So I ended up changing to a delivery driving job, because I thought, if I'm in the van, there's no way in hell he's going to know where I am. But he ended up somehow being able to find my van and following my van around as I'm doing my deliveries, which meant I felt very, very, very unsafe. From there, I obviously needed to take one step further, and I moved from where I was in the Woking area, and I moved to Norwich, which is 3 hours away from there, in hopes that I just would never see him again. And apparently he's still going, because now he's trying to find me on social media and things like that. Now, obviously, I do this. I do my streaming. I do all sorts now. But there's still that thought of if he finds me, and I still don't want him to find me because I don't know what he will do. I also don't know what I would do if I saw him, which is my strength coming back, which is nice.
Yeah, and it's very brave.
It made me
of you
feel
to talk
so
about it.
vulnerable.
Um,
Thank you.
that,
It made me feel so vulnerable.
you know, they love bomb and you don't want it. You know, I didn't know love bombing was a thing, and, you know, until, you know, I started helping more with the behavioral health science and more of the wicked women. And you see it a lot, you know, and it's really, but like you said, you don't know how he found you in the delivery truck all over the UK. You know, stalkers are very, very resourceful. You know, they should work for the NSA, CIA, or what's the one you got, you know, Scotland Yards. Yeah, and
MI5, yeah.
yeah, MI5. You know what I'm saying? You know, they missed their calling because, like I said, you know, how you going to track down one young lady in the delivery van, you know, in greater UK area. I know the UK ain't that big, but, you know, Jesus Christ, there's a million so people there. How do you pick one in a, like I said, you know, they get very, very resourceful, you know, because it seems like they dedicate their whole day and night to, you know, they will love me. I will have them back. And like you said, and it
They
gets very
do
bad.
love me.
Yeah. And, you know, and Wendy's heard me tell my sons this: there's a difference between fantasy and reality. Learn the difference and grow the
So
fuck
much.
up. You
Yeah.
know, she's heard me tell them that. And everybody's like, that's harsh. I was like, you know, reality is reality. And it's not some weird thing that you constructed in your mind and said, you know, just because I believe it hard enough, it makes it true. You know, that is something you find written in a fantasy book. And like you said, you know, I was a huge Star Trek fan and and Stargate and all this, but I don't want to meet my heroes. And you see the
They
people,
disappoint you, trust me.
you know, what's the guy with the ball bat from Walking Dead, Nero or whatever his name is? I see everybody wanting to dress up and carry the ball bat, you know, Lucille.
I can
I'm
see
like,
why these people need bodyguards as well. Just
yeah,
want to go back to obsession, because signs of obsession: intrusive thoughts, excessive reassurance seeking, extreme jealousy, controlling behaviors, constant monitoring of the other person, neglecting your own needs in life, and focusing on the other person, and difficulty tolerating rejection or separation from the personal focus. So for instance, like, we've all been in relationships. I remember I split with someone I loved very much, and he was a big part of my life, and I was like, I can't believe it's over. I can't believe it's over. You know, maybe if I write to them, maybe if I send them something, maybe if I just, like, you know, maybe if I'm just driving past, or maybe if I'm just walking there. When we're a lot younger, or even now, but, you know, when we're longer, I think, you know, we are quite more perhaps insecure or need a lot of reassurance. But I remember, like, thinking, they'll come back, and putting my life on hold. Don't date anyone else, don't go anywhere, don't see anything, keep yourself for this person. Well, you know, it can be like this. And when someone tells you, I don't want you, I'm not in love with you anymore,
believe them.
the
Yeah,
relationship's over, I want a divorce, I want to end this relationship, I'm leaving, I'm moving out, I've met someone else, etc., whatever they tell you, you have to believe them. Because at the end of the day, if someone says to you, they don't want you, open the door and let them go. Because at the end of the day, holding on to them is incredibly unhealthy for you. And for instance, you know, I actually switched off years ago, and I've never switched it back on, my WhatsApp. With my WhatsApp, I've turned off the time and everything, so I don't know when someone's been online. I don't check it, I don't do it, I don't really care anymore. But when I was younger, it was like, gotta check, got to check what time they've been on, when were they last on, or they didn't answer my message, why didn't they answer my message, what's going on, why are they ignoring me, constant, maybe sending, I'll just send a quick text, or maybe I'll just call, maybe I'll just like cold call and just see if they answer their phone. It takes over your life. Are they seeing someone else? And then if they are seeing someone else, why are they seeing them? What's wrong with me? You know, and then they start stalking the other person, or they're checking out the other person who they're seeing, and it's really, really unhelpful.
You know, I've seen people do that. They're like, "You will not believe who this bitch is with," and they're like, "What?" Then they have a whole dossier already filled out on the other guy. I'm like, "What? We planning a mission or something?" You know, why do you have all this written out? You know, and they always said it's not conspiracy till you put pen to paper. And I'm like, you know, every man has a list. You know, the crazy ones put it on paper. And I'm like, no. Oh, there's JP. Watch him. Hat on backwards. He's got the stash. You know, no beard. I saw the no beard last night and almost gave me a stroke.
But also, I mean, it's also obsessive love disorder.
Yeah.
Sometimes we put all our happiness into one person, into one relationship. We think if we can't be with them, we don't want to be with anyone else. And if I can't be with them, no one else is going to be. I've known plenty of people do that in their time with relationships as well. And also this can come from a feeling of feeling like rejection. I can't believe I've spent all this time with this person. We've been through so much together. What's wrong with them? A love can be an obsession, and it's called obsessive love disorder. An overwhelming obsessive desire to protect and possess another person. You don't want to be rejected. Also, if you're with someone who's going to nurture you in a healthy environment, that's wonderful. But when you've got someone who's like, listen, you need to go away, stop following me, stop talking to me, leave me alone. I'm not going to be with you anymore. I don't love you. It's over. We need a new word for the word over. Yeah. And yet people still hold on to the hope that they're going to change their mind. Maybe it's because they think, well, who's going to want me? Who's going to want me now? I've been with this person. I don't want anyone else to touch me. I've been there. I've thought those things. What about you, Jason? Have you had thoughts and feelings like that?
Haven't we all? I mean, yeah, I definitely know that feeling. And you know, it's interesting, the obsessive love thing, and when somebody says no, believe them and things like that. Like, I think one of the situations where I've been in is that there was obsessive love, and you know what? And in a lot of ways, it was mutual. But it never said no. I don't want you anymore or anything like that. And then the person can never bridge the gap, and so you're left with this divide of distance and indecision on the other part. And then it's like, what do you do with that? You know, they keep coming back in, they keep, you know, they disappear, they keep coming back in, disappear again, you know, and all that, and becomes cyclical. You know, it's yeah, I don't know. It can be kind of crazy. I definitely understand the rejection obsession, being a ADHD kid and how we hyper focus and things like that. I mean, I've been involved with people where it's like, you know, hey, this is the one, and you're together for a few years, and then all of a sudden something happens, and you know, you keep on keeping on your own end, but you know, they don't. But it's interesting in some of the situations that I've been in, it's almost been like they create the emotion. And, you know, that kind of implies a level of manipulativeness, and I'm sure, you know, manipulation goes in there with it in that mix. But sometimes you have personalities and you have people that they are addictive to others, right? Like, you know, normal level-headed person, that other person just happens to have the right combination of looks, good in the sack to, be somewhat blunt. But there's other things just about them that you can't explain that makes you behave in ways that you normally wouldn't. Whether you're looking at pheromones, how it triggers your dopamine receptors, just, and production and all of that stuff. Like, I've been in those situations where person triggers something in me that normally just ain't there. and it gets very damaging to yourself, because then you start putting yourself through things that you shouldn't tolerate, and yet you do. So it's kind of weird. There's a lot of layers to all this stuff.
It's interesting. Very good point, Jason. Very.
It's like a bloody onion, ain't it? It's like, the more you pull back, and it's like, I was just going to say, just remember, ladies, he's single.
Never heard bloody onion.
And
you say like a
deep.
Listen, you throw in a little bit of the it's a bloody onion. You're cutting it, and you keep peeling. It's an odor. It's got layers, right?
I'm very impressed by that, Jason. But
like I said, ladies, he is single. He is looking.
The thing about attachment disorder, that is a lot of the things. A lot of us have attachment disorder. We're so attached. We've all got different styles of attachment, but we're so attached to someone. And it's like we don't know how to focus without that person. We've become, it's like, what do I do? I don't, especially if you've been married or living with someone for so many years, and all of a sudden it's like,
so you build a life around them, Wendy. You build a life around them. You build a foundation, and you start constructing the house, if you will, to use them as a metaphor. You literally construct a life around that person and around being with that person, and what you can see as the both of you all achieving and experiencing together and things like that, and then all of a sudden it's taken away. I mean, people define themselves by their relationships and how they are in relationships, the experiences that they've built in the relationship. People define themselves by their career. Mm-hmm. And then once it's gone, what do you do? I mean, Mike and I can probably both speak very intimately to that problem. When you go from a culture like the military, and you've been in there for a decade or more, and you've been to interesting, spicy places, and you've bonded, and you've become involved in that, and it's become a part of the very fabric of who you are, and it's gone. What do you do? Where do you go with that? It's a difficult thing. It happens in relationships just as much as careers or hobbies or interests or things like that. I mean, there's people that, out there, that motorcyclists who that whole everything. And then, if you lose a limb or a bad back, they can't ride anymore. Their whole demeanor changes, how they are with people changes, their outlook on life changes, so it's,
I went into a deep depression after I left the Army, and I didn't have nobody to take care of it no more. It was very, very taxing, because that was part of me that was gone. And that is how you said, and Jeep people, the people who buy a Jeep, and all of a sudden, they're a Jeep guy, they're a Jeep girl. And if something happens to their Jeep, they
just have a weird obsession with rubber ducks on the windshield and dashboard. I don't know.
I'm thinking
there's nothing wrong with rubber ducks.
I thought be a grown up, put a bottle of whiskey in my seat. You know what I'm saying? I don't.
Maybe building a moat with alligators instead of a fountain around them is better. It's all
that is
part of the journey to become better, stronger, and vibration. I want to bring up a point that JP brought up about it's your world. And I do believe that, especially from a long-term relationship, because when a relationship breaks down, whether you're young or older, but I think when you're older, it does tend to hit you, I think, a lot harder, because you're like, I've given all these years to somebody. I've put everything in that, all my eggs in that one basket, and I've put everything towards there, and all of a sudden the rug's been taken out from underneath me, and then it's become like, but what if they get with someone else? What now they're going to be with someone else? What about me? I'm not attractive anymore because we've been rejected by the one person that we never wanted to be rejected by. We've now been rejected by them. And with the stalking and the obsessive behavior and stuff like that, it's somewhere in the brain just doesn't switch off. It doesn't, it doesn't switch off to say, okay, it's time to stop. And some people do not even realize that they are being obsessive. They don't realize.
What's the old saying? It's like, it's not you, it's me. I love you, but I'm not in love with you. And they hear, oh, they still love me. They don't hear the second part about I'm not in love with you. So they hear the love part.
There's an interesting thing with that one, Mike, too, because sometimes you look at things like that, and it can very much be a matter, especially depending on what your kind of personality is and what their personality is and things like that. But, love is, in a lot of ways, in a regular, healthy, long-term relationship, love and the passionate love versus this is my companion, this is a person, I care about them, they're here, blah blah blah, the not lower level love, but it's a different kind of love, right? Where
I was going to say, sometimes love and lust gets construed.
You go through these, it's like riding a sine wave, right? You're not always going to be passionate, rip each other's clothes off, chase each other around the whatever. You're not always going to be like that. Sometimes it's the quiet, simple times where you're just present. And that person's there and that person knows you're there. And so, like, if there's that point where sometimes people get confused, sometimes people don't know how to process emotions or where things are. I think also there's a certain level of emotional immaturity where they don't understand the sine wave kind of thing. And they're at a low point and they're like, I'm not in love. I love you, but I'm not in love with you. And I want to be in love with you. There are things and ways to overcome that in a healthy manner, though.
That, William just put up a good thing. I don't know if Jason can see it or not. It says, love thyself before others. And that reminds me of a couple of sayings that my mom had, and anybody that's listening, I'll take a lot of knowledge that I'm older now from what my mom said to me growing up. I remember she told me one time, she said, you're going to keep putting that bitch so high on a pedestal that when she falls off, she's going to break her neck.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And it's like, I get that, the older I get, and we can put all of these expectations and all of these things that we think these people are. And you get so blinded because you're looking at tunnel vision. You're not seeing, the three-headed monster that they really are.
Well, and there's another thing that you bring up with that.
Rose-colored glasses.
That person that I mentioned that kind of brought out that sort of obsession, that making me kind of be and act and feel a way that I hadn't and stuff like that.
Yeah,
she had borderline personality disorder.
And she projected
a really big thing with BPD is pedestaling and kind of like white knighting isn't the right way to put it. White knighting, because in the vernacular, white knighting nowadays is more of you're the person coming in trying to defend somebody. Yeah. But when you have people with BPD, they will put people on a pedestal, and then if there is one little thing that tarnishes that holy image that they've created of that person,
they tear it down.
Everything falls apart. Rather than understanding that, man, we're people, we're flawed, and we're gonna fuck up, right?
Yeah,
it's about how we deal with it and how bad we do that. You know what I mean? And we either get over it or we don't. We understand. People are people, man. We're flawed, and it's a scary, interesting thing when you're dealing with folks like that. So.
Yeah,
It's interesting you say that, because I want to just bring up, apparently, if you've had a lot of childhood neglect, it can hinder you to form healthy attachment relationships later in life. So you're quite quite insecure, quite anxious. Abuse. If you've had abuse growing up or in relationships, it's very much not a very good way to come from. Low self-esteem, borderline personality disorder, as Jason just brought up.
Yeah.
Erotomania, which is the rare delusional disorder where it causes a person to believe that a specific person is their destiny. And their obsessive love can intensify delusions of healthy or non-existent relationships. I'm meant to be with them. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. I'm going to get there in the end. Attachment disorder, obsessional jealousy, obsessive compulsive disorder, all these things can actually be a trigger. So when you meet someone, and the next thing you know, you're going down there. Let's look at positive obsession, because, you know, there are things that are positive about, especially when it comes, but you've always got to have that boundary, that not going too far. So, for instance, you can be workaholics. You can be so involved with work that it's obsession. I've got to earn this money. I've got to build myself up the ladder. I've got to, Michael in the army, I've got to prove myself. I've got to not let the lads down. I mean, you must have seen that, Michael.
And like I said, you know, at the end of the day, and Jason can contest this, we're our biggest critic. You know, I actually got in trouble with a lady on the phone the other day because I was mad at myself because I screwed up. And I guess, you know, she's such a disappointment in life that she could not understand that somebody gets mad at herself when they let something fall through. Because I'm so used to handling things, you know, in a timely manner. It's like, you know, you check off all the boxes. And an obsession can come from any social class too. Some of the things I learned from doing the research, you know, it don't matter your social class. You could be, you know, a dirt poor farmer on the street and be obsessed to making sure your crop come in to feed your family and you're in animal husbandry and stuff. Or you can come from money and have some other weird obsessions and obsess because people tell you no and you're not used to being told no. And once you hear no, you get obsessed because, well, you know, nobody else has ever told me no. What's wrong with this person? What's wrong with me? I must have them now. They told me no. And it turns into almost like a tantrum. Yeah.
Sorry. I was just going to mention that I had a similar thing when I spent 2.5 years in a sales job, which was face-to-face sales. And it was, if you don't go out and make the sale, you do not get paid. End of.
Yeah.
So I remember I used to get to the office at 8 o'clock in the morning. We would leave for site at around 10, get to site 11 o'clock, and I would stay for as long as I needed to in order to make the amount of sales that I need to.
Yeah.
Now, I would end up spending 16 hours a day working just so I can be the best in the office, so I can make sure that I get the best quality, so I can be the high roller, so I can do so much so that everyone else thinks that I'm amazing.
Yep.
And it was that, what I found is 16 to 18 hours a day for 2.5 years isn't actually viable.
No.
Which is why
You
I've
burn
ended up
out.
with a lot of problems.
You
And there
burn
was
out mentally and
major
physically
burnout.
both. Jason can, yeah.
Absolutely.
Me and JP was actually having a talk last night to Jessica's uncle David. You know, we was talking about different things that we had saw in our previous lives. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, oh, we've done this, we've done that, and now when I think back on it, the taxing stuff that we done to our body because we was obsessed of being the best we could be in the army. And oh yeah, through that old, you know, that Jason probably remembers that when they said, "Be all you can be." And you know, and now I look at it. I'm 53. My back hurts. My mind is rattled, and it's like, but I was so obsessed. You know, I have to get home. I have to get all my guys home. This mission cannot fail. If it takes 29 hours a day to get it done, by God, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
You know, if I got to fly, you know, from a fixed wing aircraft to a rotary wing aircraft back to, you know, it don't matter how many seats my asses have to sit in to get things done from point A or point B, you know. And it's like, and you know, it's not my story, but JP is talking about, you know, they had something trigger in the aircraft and he, you know, weapons hot, you know, I knew we was going to fly this far, but now we're going to fight our way out. And it was, and at that time in his mind, he was probably obsessed with, screw this situation. I got to get me and my guys home. and you don't think about anything else.
Interesting point, Michael. Sorry to interrupt, but it's like being in the army is like having a marriage, right?
Oh,
Because
yeah. Oh,
you're committed
absolutely.
and you devote
Yeah.
so much time to it. When that relationship is over, when you're coming out,
it's heartbreaking. It is
how
heartbreaking.
did that make you feel in yourself? Because you couldn't go back and ask them to take you back like you could a woman or a guy. How did you deal with that?
I could be outside the front gate saying, on my hands and knees, "Hey, sir, ma'am, I'll be a good boy. Can you just let me back in, for a little while longer?" But no, it was depressing. It was heartbreaking. It was like, that part of my life was over, and I hung on to it. And I still got the stuff behind me in the wall because that will always be part of me. And that's like one of the little guys. He's in the National Guard Committee. He's like, "Oh, that guy's still in there." I said, "There is a pack of women that will claw your eyeballs out. They would rather see the kind, loving Michael that cares for everyone, that that don't want nobody to be mean to kids and animals and old people, than the asshole you see sitting on that wall." I said, because he was very driven, he was very direct, and he was very violent. "Oh, no, you can pick the parts you want." And I was like, "No, you can't." And and I always said, this is the part of my life now that I'm going to retire, and I'm going to enjoy it because I had give so much, to country and all this other stuff. And now I feel like Ted off the little movie when the teddy bear comes running. "Oh, it's my time now, motherfucker." You know what I'm saying? This, I give. So now, and when Wendy first met me, and she could probably tell you, I did not feel like I was deserving for love or an easy stroll. I was so used to being in the fight, and I needed chaos to reign around me to think that I was making a difference so I could be happy. If there was no chaos, I was not happy. I needed that chaos to kind of guide my way through it. And Jason, he's still historian for a branch of the armed forces, and he still can't give it up. He still goes see a unit every day. He's almost like they fostered him, I guess. I don't know, because now he's the historian for the unit. But me and Jason both, we love the military history, and we love our military story. But you never hear either one of us talk about any of the bad stuff. It's always the trauma bonding through the fun stuff that we talk about, because the other stuff is for us to process and deal with later. And I've almost become obsessed with hiding that, because that is mine. You know what I'm saying? The fun stuff, hey, such and such got kicked, in the sack, that's the funny stuff. And we share that. But a lot of veterans are like it. They do not share. It is theirs to hold. But no, it was bad. It was worse than a divorce. I've been married, divorced.
Say that to you. Was it worse than a marriage ending?
Yeah, I've done that 4 times. I only quit the army once.
And did you? Do you think the army was, Jason? Both of you, was it an obsession? Was it like it was your life?
Well, yeah, especially if you're looking at trying to make a career of it. It kind of goes back to you what I was talking about, you beginning to define yourself by things.
Yeah.
I was a soldier first and foremost, and that gave me a set of values and a set of basic disciplines and things like that. And then, then I was a warrant officer, which carried with it the, certain weights and expectations of knowledge, of professionalism, of being able to do things. And so you're building and shaping and molding your character, and your being around that. And then, then you break it down to smaller things. I was in 10th Mountain Division. I was a 10th Mountain guy. I carried a lineage to the men who fought on Riva Ridge and, throughout the Italian Alps. And, there's some of the finest and most highly educated, and capable light infantry units, to ever come out of World War II. And, I'm connected to that.
To hear him talk, it makes the hair stand on my arms. It does, because I get that. You know what I'm saying? And it's, like I said, not only are you representing yourself, and I used to tell my guys, we are representing the guys who paid the way for us also. And you're building your future. I told them, I was a member of the biggest green cult in the world. And they're like, "What do you mean the army is a cult?" You walk like me. You talk like me. You
Yes.
dress like me. If you don't, I will come down on you like the hand of God that I am on thee. And they're like, oh no, the army. I said, it's called training and indoctrination for a reason.
Yeah.
And
That's also why it works.
it is, because you are beating your head. You're the best in the world at what you do today.
And it's a willing thing that you do. And I had that conversation with my youngest, is that there are things and aspects of normal life that normal citizens enjoy every day that you willingly set down or set aside to serve a higher purpose. And sacrifice isn't just long hours and going on all expenses paid vacations, if you will, to dry sandy places where the locals want to kill you and you don't know when you're coming home.
And like a camel burger, yeah.
Right. There's more to it, and that's all what makes it work. Some people can do it for longer than others. Some people do one hitch and they're like, all right, I'm done. And some people are like, I don't know what to do without the army. The army is who I am.
Yeah, what is almost like when you get out of prison, it's like, and it's like, and everybody's like, what do you mean? I said, when you first go into the army, it's like being in jail, but you got a gun. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you sleep now, you PT now, you eat now. If you don't do this, you're in trouble now. But no, I want to ask Jason, because, from me, at an early age, somebody could ask me, Michael, what are you going to be? And you have everybody in your class, here in America is probably different than the classrooms in England. Go around, you hear the guys like, I want to be a firefighter like my daddy. I want to be a welder, and you got the little girl back in the 70s. It's really funny. I'm going to be the first female president, and in her mind, she was actually obsessed, come from money. Mommy, daddy told her, hey, you can be anything, and Walt Disney. And they'd get to me, and here's this dumb, dirty-faced farm kid that grew up dirt poor. What are you going to be? And it wasn't, I'm going to be a soldier. I tell them, I am a soldier. And they're like, oh, basically, fuck off. You'll never make nothing yourself. You poor white trash or whatever. You know what I say to them people now told me that? Fuck you. I did it. And now they're all dying off and stuff. But when they came to me and asked me, what are you going to be? And I would tell them, not that I'm going to be, I am. This is my destiny. And everybody's like, oh, he's nuts. He needs.
And I had a bit different experience because, and being a military brat, there was a certain level of kind of a,
like Sparky over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a certain level of, I'm going to do my own thing, a little bit of rebellion in there. And so, so I want to be a paleontologist. So, I want to do this. I want to do that. And then as I grew and I matured and experienced the world and looking at things, it starts turning into, I want to be a rotary wing aviator like Dad.
I was going to say,
I want to fly helos.
Yeah.
I want to do these things. And that was one of those things too, that I had kind of a double experience in terms of that rejection thing. I got medically grounded in flight school. And I had built my entire life about, I'm going to be an Army aviator. I don't know whether I'm going to be a gun pilot. Don't know whether I'm going to be a lift pilot. Don't know whether I'm going to be, dust off and fly medevacs, and whatever, but I'm going to do this. And, it's going to be carrying on tradition that, Dad had established, way back when, flying Cobras and all this. And then there I am like, hey, you're not flying anymore.
You wanted the thing on your uniform, the helicopter.
I mean, I was a street to seat kid. Most of the people in my class had, 5, 6, 10 years, already in the Army before they applied to go to flight school. I recruited in to go to flight school through the Warrant Officer Flight Training Program. Mm-hmm. And I had been obsessed with doing that. And, walking in, here I am, the street seat kid, and you got these dudes who had all been, crew chiefs and mechanics on an aircraft and all this stuff, and you had some Rangers, you had some infantry guys scattered in there and other stuff like that. But, I'm walking into ground school and I'm crushing the tests. Like I am consistently scoring higher than dudes who had been, airframe experts, who had been crew chiefs, on Blackhawks and Chinooks.
It's in your blood.
you know, and
It's in
things
your
like
blood at
that.
that point, isn't it?
Huh?
It's in your blood at that point, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. I mean,
he
I
was-
used to
he
I
was
used
a
to steal my
scare.
dad's flight manuals out of his foot locker and just read them.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
You
He was
know,
so
like
obsessed
I
that
could
he
tell you
learned-
all about the theory of rotary wing flight, and then, you know, get into the cockpit and then having problems sleeping, having problems focusing on all this stuff, get diagnosed with adult onset attention deficit hyperactive disorder, and you're medically grounded. And, you
Yeah.
know, now I'm nothing. Here I was, you know, knocking all these dudes in the dirt, this young 21-year-old kid who, you know, had only ever been on the dependent side of the military, you know, giving these guys what for. And, you know,
Yeah. I had a
now
similar
I'm
but
not.
different experience with it as well.
There's
Where
no
for me, I obviously had where I was a kid in the army, I had hello.
Yeah.
I had that safety obsession. That I had that side of it of being a kid in the army. You are safe. You are around people who will always take care of you, and having that weird moment from going as a military brat into Civvy Street, all of a sudden you're just out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And that kind of, I was obsessed with finding safety. So I was obsessed with finding good people to be around and trying to have that as my safety net, because I didn't know what to do without having the military behind me. It was weird.
Did you know, me and Jason's had this conversation about being obsessed with safety as a kid. I always told my kids, you're in one of the best guarded, gated communities on this planet. You know, quit your bitching. Life could be worse. You know, and what do you mean it's a gated community? You know, we're living over here in the enlisted housing. You know, I see. You know, we've seen what they live like. I was like, how many?
We're in camp.
You know, how many gated communities back home do you see with 40 guys? You know, with 8 ARs across their chest. You know, and you got the guy with the Benelli shotgun, all pulling gate duty.
On every
I said,
gate.
on every gate. You know what I'm saying? Just itching,
Yeah.
just wishing somebody would try them so they could justify it. And I'm like, you know, you live in one of the most secured gated communities in the world, which, you know, the American Army is a little bigger than the British Army, so we project power with a lot of them. But
Well, your camps are huge in comparison too.
Oh yeah. What's our annual budget? There's a reason we don't have free healthcare.
To pick up on a comment about obsession, because we must get back to that. And it's like, it's interesting that we come from backgrounds where you talk about with the army and etc. I was gonna do it. It became an obsession. It was my obsession. It was my true love affair. I understand that because I came working class background, you know, council house. Never money was really hard to get hold of. And it was like, if someone told me, you're never going to achieve it, you're never going to do this, you're never going to achieve it. And I've had so many people that I've dated or I've known, they're like, yeah, what world? And I want to use this as an example. We started the conversation about it, and I will bring it up as an example. So I dated someone. I was with him for 4.5 years, and a very difficult relationship. And they would take it on board to bring me down, knock me down, and certainly do my self-esteem in, and like, whatever, Wendy, and all this malarkey. And it used to affect me after a while, my self-esteem and confidence, you know. And when that relationship ended, they said something to me. They said, you'll never get a 67 Impala.
That's what I was going to bring up.
You'll never have it. And I
now you're going to do it out of spite.
Yeah.
And I didn't actually do anything when they left. I didn't look for that car. I didn't want to do anything. And then one day I discovered that they were with someone else, and they bought them an American car, and it hurt. It really, really hurt. And I just thought, you know what? This is time for me to actually get my teeth into something for me. Now, Canada's always been my obsession. Everybody knows that. I love Canada. It's somewhere I feel, you know, I'm drawn to. But when I got the Impala, there was this, I'm going to do it. Fuck what anyone else thinks. I'm going to achieve it. and I'm going to do it all on my own. I'm not going to ask for any help. I'm going to be totally independent, to the point of like, I'm not going to tell anybody what I'm doing because I don't want to hear the comments of, you're not going to do it. What are you doing that for? You're crazy. It's not going to happen. So when I did do it and I achieved it and it came over and I was like, oh my God, Wendy, what have you done? Literally, I have achieved my dream. I was obsessed about it. I have made that obsession become a dream. It's made other people's dreams come true. And I have achieved that. And it's like, what's left for me in my life? What is my next path? What is my next thing I want to achieve? Relationship wise, I have spent far too many years of my life. I wouldn't say the last 5 to 6 years, actually, but I'd probably say up to that point, obsessing about the relationship I was in. Does he love me? What am I doing wrong? Why is he looking for someone else? Why am I not good enough? Why am I not sexy enough? What have I got to do to make him love me? What have I got to do to get him to come back? And even if they were unfaithful, which obviously happened in my marriage and etc., it was like, but I can't give it up. I can't give it up. And I want to bring up a little point here because we are talking about obsession, and there are a few people in my life that this could come under that I know are going through situations. And one of them is, if you're in a relationship or you're in a situation that you're putting more effort in than your partner is, it is supposed to be a joint effort. And if they're not coming in going exactly the same as you, that is a big warning sign. Yeah. If you don't feel heard or respected anymore, if you keep having to say, but actually I feel like this, or they're not wanting to hear you, that is a red flag. If you feel like you're alone, like you could be in a room full of 20 people and you feel completely alone, and that you are like, I feel so lonely, cut the dead weight, cut the losses, give yourself space to remember how you want your life to look like. If your self-esteem is really low, and you look to your partner to build that self-esteem, and all you get is apathy back. In a healthy relationship, you encourage each other, you build each other up, and you have each other's backs no matter what. Even if you don't agree all the time, you have each other's back. And when you feel your self-esteem is being chipped away by comments or actions, and deeds being done, and it's your own self-worth that's taking the hits, you have to leave and go off into the sunset. And the feeling you get from your other half, and this is something I know only too well, if you're living with someone and it doesn't feel home, it feels like insecurity and instability. But what about this? What if I do this? What are they going to do this? What am I going to do that? It's going to be that's very much a sign of it as well. And you find yourself living in the past, looking at memories, looking at things how they once were and how you want them to be, and looking at things from a nostalgia point of view. You find yourself lost in nostalgia, lost in memories. You keep playing it over and over in your head. It is time to look at things in a very different way, because what you're looking at is what once was, and what was, but is now not that way. And I think this is something that we often tend to do in life when we become obsessed. I can make them take me back. I think it's Georgie frozen for a minute. I think she has, isn't she?
Georgie.
Yeah. Frozen for a minute. Take her out. Oh, she's back now. That's all right. She's back. You frozen.
No. You can't hear.
You can't hear?
Oh, she keeps muting her mic.
She can't hear us.
My audio's gone wrong, so I'm trying to sort out my headset. Sorry.
That's okay.
Oh. Well, we got you 5x5 now. So
yeah, you're coming in great.
Yeah.
So I do know people that are going through this right now, and it does break my heart to see people I love going through Groundhog Day.
Mm-hmm.
Groundhog Day, by putting stuff over and over again, you have to let go, and you have to move on. If you're obsessed with someone, if you're so into someone and that other person doesn't want you, you've got to let go. because if you don't let go, it will destroy you. It will destroy you from getting with any other person, any other relationship. It will fuck you up so badly. And I'm going to say this again. It will fuck you up so badly unless you cut
They will.
the ties and stop putting things out, stop resisting, stop hoping. If somebody says, I don't want you, don't obsess about them, let them go.
Give
Why
them
would
what
you
they want.
Yeah.
about someone who
Don't
Hey,
keep
want
trying.
you?
what is it?
And that's the
What is
thing
it,
is
Jason?
if you give
They-
them what
they
you
say-
want, huh?
What is it they say in the army when you pick up something and it's too much to carry anymore? It says cut sling load, cut sling load.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and here's the other thing too is,
Let it go.
if it comes around to where it's like, I don't think I want this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if that's what you want, by all means, I'll give you what you want. And here's the thing with that. You could still sit there and love them immensely and still want to be with them. And they may, I'm not saying it's always the case, but they may get out there and realize, you know what?
Grass wasn't
Kind of
greener.
walked away from something good. Maybe this isn't exactly what I thought it was going to be, you know, and they may revisit on their own.
What is it? The old saying is if you truly love it,
Set them
and
free.
let it,
Right.
and
Let
set it free, and let
And you know, and if it's meant to be, they'll come back to you. And
Yeah.
I had a lot of that kind of, you know, obsessive kind of stuff where it was the, you know, do they love me enough? Am I being good enough? Am I, you know, where you're concerned about all of those different little nit-noit things, right?
Yeah.
And you know, would stress over those kinds of things. And then I dated this gal. Her and I were together for 5 years, and it was a very different experience because her mindset, and because she'd been through all the bad things, you know, well, okay, not all the bad things, but relationship wise, she'd been through, you know, the ringer on things here and there and stuff like that. But she very much had this mindset of, look, you either want to be with me or you don't want to be with me. If you want to be with me, you're going to be here. And if something comes up, you're going to work through it. And that's just how life works. And if you don't want to be with me, then I'm not going to sit there and try to force it.
No.
You know, and it was one of those things where there's a certain level of confidence you have to develop in yourself. Not even necessarily like yourself in a relationship, but just yourself and being who you are and simply being that, like, you know, people I think need to have before they really go into relationships. Because if you don't have that confidence in yourself to be where it's like, you know, I am who I am. I am where I am in life. I have where I want to go in life. And if I can't, you know, really function without this, you're not doing it because you need somebody or you need that person. You're doing it because you want that person there. And there is a huge difference between needing and wanting. And, you know, because wanting, that's a decision.
Yeah.
You're making a conscious decision every day. Yes.
And
I choose
negative
this.
obsession is unhealthy. Positive obsession, very, very different. Because positive, a healthy obsession, passionate, focused commitment to a goal or an activity, and enhances personal growth and life satisfaction rather than anxiety, harm, disruption. And it differs from an unhealthy obsession because it does not involve rigid rules, social isolation, excessive worry, interference, responsibilities. A healthy obsession will give you that passion, that fire. I'm going to achieve this. I'm going to travel around the world. I'm going to buy that car. I'm going to start that group. I believe in this something. It's like it gives you that fire in your belly. And my point is, before we look at coming to the end of this subject, why do so many of us stay holding on to bad relationships? Why do we do that, Georgie? Let's start with you first. Why do we do that?
Because, well, I know of someone who is in a relationship because they are afraid to be on their own. They are so used to being with someone. They are so used to having that person there. And they're used to caring for them. They're used to having a second wage coming in, then all that kind of thing. So it's literally just out of comfort and fear of being on their own, being out in the wild again, and having to make it on their own.
Yep.
But there's strength that comes with that. So it is very difficult to especially if someone is in that position, it's very difficult to convince them that not being in that position would actually be better for them, even though it is.
Yeah.
Because
Michael, what's your view?
Like I said, doing the research, because I figured Val was, had things to do, and he said, and there's one thing that we hadn't hit on that I don't know if Jason remembers this in America. I don't know if it got to the UK. So some of our news, they blast it worldwide, and you're like, holy shit, what are the crazy Yanks up to? But the astronaut Lisa Nowak, and and astronauts go through like a vast psychological examination. So I want to know how she slipped through, because she got caught driving across country over 1,000 miles wearing an adult diaper to avoid sleeping and stopping to confront her lover's, her boyfriend's love interest and her love rival. And and the woman she was going to find was a Colleen Shipman, and she was and they got her for attempted or a kidnapping. She went with like guns and knives in the car, duct tape, and all this, and a disguise. And this woman came from, there's not that many astronauts. You know what I'm saying? That is a very small section of society. And she had been through all of the, do they check this box? Is that a go or no go? And she had got all goes, and she was an astronaut. But she got so obsessed with this Bill, I can't pronounce his last name, but anyway, but he was another astronaut, and she was going to go take out an Air Force captain because it was one of them. If I can't have him, this other woman, I forbid this. Jason said, you remember?
Yeah, I remember this.
When I first remember this come out, this is in 2007. Crazy don't have a timestamp or a date. You know what I'm saying? You can run into crazy everywhere. And I was thinking to myself, I was in the Army at the time, and I'm like, fuck, the officer corps has this crazy shit too. I thought it was just my guys chasing strippers or something. You know what I'm saying? You gotta hit them with a water pistol and say, bad boy, down, go back to the barracks. And I'm thinking, this woman come from the upper echelon of society, to be an astronaut, and she had been through all the medical and mental vetting. So, that red flag must have really hit itself. And I'm like, wow, that is crazy. And some of the other people I saw in here, one woman was convicted of sending a guy 159,000 text messages. How bad do you want to get a hold of a guy? You
How do you have time?
That's what I'm saying. Her thumbs must be fucking bleeding. I'm like, and it was like,
Get a hobby.
She went on one date. I got it right here. She went on one date with the CEO. Then she bombarded him with 159,000 text messages. She broke into his home, and it was like, I need money. I need you more than for, what I'm saying? After one date, I don't know what kind of chemistry this guy had, but one date. And this one was, there's another stalker. A woman saw one of the AGT, y'all got, what is it? Britain's Got Talent. We got America's Got Talent. Mm. She broke into his home, and basically tried to live in it in London by spacing her way through a window in the back, and said, I've got my clothes here. We now live together. And I'm like,
well, isn't it Gary Newman? I'm just looking up Gary Newman actually, because he was a famous, and still is, for us who remember him, in the 80s. He married, I believe, a fan.
It's like,
And I think she's slightly Gemma. I think that's her name. But she
Yeah,
was
it's like,
slightly,
yeah.
she's slightly younger than him. And I remember, like, when he married her, people were like, "You married a fan? Like,
and
you married someone?" And I want to go to the Michael. Will you look up ABBA? And you
ABBA,
look up
oh.
the group ABBA and the blonde Agneta, because she had a stalker. And I believe she ended up having a relationship with him. Can you check that one for me? Because I do want to just look at that, because it's such a great story of how you can meet someone, because there's all these bad negative presses about all the celebs that go with the young girls and the stars, but there actually are the happy ever after stories as well, where they did meet their celeb that they were in, and they became their husband or wife.
well,
I
here's
actually know
the
as
one.
well.
This night lady, I looked up and she had a thing for Michael Douglas, and she said, "If I can't have you, I will cut your meat off the bones and feed it to my dogs."
Wow.
And I'm like, wow.
That's
I'm like, holy shit, you know. And as Shirley Turner, there's one I know. Wendy's an Alex Baldwin fan. You know, she likes all the Baldwins, but and I don't know. This is that she's the one that was talking. No, she's the one who shot her boyfriend while pregnant with his baby, then run to Canada. Like I said, when I thought I was going to have a problem with finding famous female stalkers, and I'm like, holy shit, my phone is like, what are you doing, brother? Do I need to worry? And it's like,
I mean, can we just go back quickly to celebs and marrying fans?
Yeah.
Because I also know that happened with Mark Sheppard as well.
Oh, of course. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Marrying her.
He met Sarah at a convention, and then they sat and had a drink together afterwards, and then chatted for 6 months before she went over to America, and now they got a little girl who's about 10 years old now.
Well, somebody was doing something right.
You got the Riz.
I just want to bring up Gary Newman before we do ABBA. Gary Newman married Gemma, and she was a super fan of his, and she wanted to marry him since she was a child. They met.
Whoa.
And she described it as a dream come true to marry her pop crush. She's also had a significant influence on his musical direction. And obviously he's had quite a bit of ill health, and she's looked after him since that. And also, let's think of one of the most famous crushes. Princess Diana used to have Prince Charles's picture on her wall growing up, right? And they asked her, "What are you going to do when you get older?" And she said, "I'm going to marry Prince Charles." Well, be careful what you wish for, because
that's what I was going to say. I'm like, yeah, we all know what they. But yeah, shocking for ABBA star Angelina Fox.
It's Agneta, I believe.
Yeah, and it says, as her stalker and former lover of 2 years returned to Switzerland 24 years after the court kicked him out of the country.
Whoa.
Nice. So even the whole country of Switzerland's like, look, dude, you're too fucking weird. Time to go. And
Geneva Convention, right?
Yeah. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, Rapid brings in Jerry Lee Lewis married his 13-year-old cousin, which let's look at the time that this happened. Different times, different situations. Yes, it's very shocking at 13.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even think that was necessarily a case of obsession. He didn't have an obsessive fan or an obsessive artist. You know, that was.
But it also goes to show that if you want something badly enough, like, I mean, as Gary Newman's wife, she says, all my life, it was my dream to marry him since I was 10.
Yeah.
All his posters, all his music, all his albums. I used to wish on my cake every year to be his wife. And one day I had a careers talk at school, and they said, "What do you want to do when you leave school?" And I said, "I don't need a job because I'm going to marry Gary Newman, except he's in debt." Gary, who admitted he was in debt at the time, said it was hard to live up to his celebrity persona, apologizing to his wife for lumping her in with his other fans. He said, "You can't live up to any of that, can you? They, the fans, have posters on their walls and it's all perfectly done. You look as good as you can, but when you're on stage and it's all lit up, it's very different. Then you sit in a car with them and they're telling you I got to bring this up. Hang on. It's just loading it up. Then
Got
you
loads of debt. Everything's going wrong.
Yeah.
where is it? I'm just bringing it up now. Bear with me one second. Then you sit in the car with them and you're telling stories and you try to be interesting, but they've heard everything about you because they've known everything about you on social media already. The Bob Icon was shamed for revealing he took Gemma to a little chef which is like a motorway cafe on their first date. However, she didn't mind that the Our Friends Electric and Car Singer didn't initially splash the cash. I don't care about any of that stuff, she said. I was completely excited. I'd always gone to gigs with makeup on, so I decided to not wear makeup. She then spoke about the grump years where the couple had tough times in their marriage. But she also revealed that she never, ever regretted her decision and she's living the dream. And good luck to her. At the end of the day, that one worked out for her. Mark Sheppard's wife. It does.
Oh, here you go. Here's
And
another
it's,
one.
and it's those that give hope to all the crazies.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Because here's a Margaret Murray Ray stalked David Letterman, broke into his Connecticut home, also camped out on his tennis court at one point, and in 1988 stole his Porsche and drove it through the Lincoln Tunnel. And she did 10 months in a mental institution. That's how to win a man, right? And here's one I seen, this Ruth Tagg. It was harassed British comedian Ken Dodd, D-O-D-D. I don't know how to say his last name. Maybe y'all can. It's like D-O-D-D.
Dog.
Yeah, mailed a dead rat to his home, sent dozens of threatening letters, T-shirts and whatever. And she set his house on fire, try to kill him. You know what I'm saying? So it happens there too. But like I said, and here's like some crazy.
I just have a list of people which I did not believe that have married fans, right?
Yeah, and
Patrick Dempsey married a fan. Matt Damon married a fan.
Matt Damon.
Christian Bale married a fan. Jerry Seinfeld, Justin Bieber, Tom Cruise, apparently, Adam Sandler, and Julia Roberts, apparently. And
Pretty woman.
And then John Travolta, apparently. These are all people and Kelsey Grammer. Now I remember Kelsey Grammer's story, Fraser. He actually did marry a fan. I do remember that story. So, and Nicolas Cage has done it a few times, I believe.
A few times.
Old Nick's an habitual offender. But
let's not forget Kate Middleton, who absolutely idolized Prince William, and he's now going to be the future Queen of England.
Yeah. I look at some of this stuff about obsession or whatever. Like I said, and like I said, I figured it'd be a lot of men stalkers, but there is a lot of flooding upon crazy ass women out there. Is like, oh, he wants me, and I know he wants me if he will love me or else. Because I'm looking.
Yeah, he doesn't know it yet, but he
does. And because like I said, I know Wendy is like huge with Alec Baldwin, and I'm thinking, I'm looking out through here. And in 2013, she's not the only woman that's got an obsession with him. This woman said, if I can't have you, I will turn your life into a horror story, dude.
Wow.
And I'm like, and her name is Jesus Christ. Gia something another. It's about this long.
I wouldn't have said that to Alex. I would have been, I'm going to make your life so damn good.
Yeah, like I said, I can't say her name, and then my phone is whatever. But I'm like, wow. But it's like Giovanni something another, and I'm thinking this woman is. But even some of this obsession comes out at her early age. This Lisa Michelle Lambert.
It was Genevieve Sabourin.
Yeah,
she was a Canadian actress who was arrested in April 2012 for stalking and harassment after sending numerous emails and text messages and appearing at his home. In 2013, she was sentenced to 6 months in jail for her actions, which included repeatedly shouting at Alec Baldwin in court. Apparently, he had a cameo in The Adventure of Pluto Nash. They had dinner a decade later, and then she started sending him texts and emails, showing up at his home. She claimed they had a sexual relationship and that his actions were a misunderstanding, while Baldwin denied this and said he only ever met her for career. I mean, it's pretty scary. pretty scary how it can all go down one road, eh?
But like I said, you know, the astronaut was talking about being totally vetted and being like sitting in front of all these psychiatrists and whatever. But this woman in 92, she at 16 years old, she cut her new or her ex-boyfriend's new lover's throat, and always said a crime with a knife is more passionate than somebody with a gun.
Yep.
And but this woman at 16 years old, so that goes back, to chicken or egg. Is it a sociopath or a psychopath? What, is it nature, nurture? What makes somebody have them kind of unhinged thoughts that run through their mind? And and I was looking here and I was like, at 16 years old, you were so obsessed that this other girl had come into your ex-boyfriend's life and you thought, this bitch must die. And you pull out a fucking butcher knife.
And let's be honest, there are little girls and guys out there probably like hoping to marry one of their favorite celebs as they grow up as well. I want to thank everyone for coming on and actually, I think Georgie has frozen. Oh, she's back now.
No, she just sitting real
I
still.
was just
She's
very still.
You have
is
to,
well
otherwise-
behaved.
oh my god!
Georgie
Before
is
we,
well
because let's just thank you so much to everyone. We hope everyone's enjoyed and got something from this subject. It's a big subject. We wanted to try 2 different areas to look about what we were going to do, and one was the fan, and one is relationship. So now, come back and watch Wicked Women next week for another subject before we go to the end. But let's chat amongst ourselves for the last couple of minutes. So sorry that Val could not be here today. Really missed her. And I'm sure she will be here next week. Michael and Georgie, obviously, I'm incredibly grateful for you guys, and the lovely Jason. Like, how dare you come on the show without a beard? Where's the beard?
I only met you last week and I was expecting a beard.
Yes.
Hold on. I've got to do this since I've left this. Frankly, my
Is it coming
dear,
back?
I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
Is it coming back?
Yeah. It's like Play-Doh.
Easy
He
girl,
holds,
easy.
he holds his nose and blows, and the beard comes back like
He
Play-Doh.
does it very
Like
well.
Play-Doh.
I might have to get him to do that again. But seriously,
Freaking
it's
Scarlet
good.
Dog.
Well done on that, Jason. Quite
Yeah.
impressed.
Oh, I just reckon, you did trim the mustache in like that. Kind of like, who was that? Red.
Yeah, well, if I'd
Red
left like
Butler.
a full-on mustache, it just feels weird. If I'd left handlebars, everybody at work would have been like, "Oh, you're trying to be Robin Olds," and I figured doing something a little more classic might be interesting.
There you
Are
go.
we keeping
Gotta get that
moustache?
transatlantic going, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of transatlantic accent there. You want me to just go ahead and talk like I have an accent, but not really, but nobody can place it?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, fine. No,
Every time I speak, I tell people that when I first met Wendy, she's like, "We both speak English, but I do not know what the fuck you're saying." And I'm like,
yes.
I'm like,
it's that
I'm
classic
speaking-
situation, Michael, of the United
separated
States
by-
and England. 2 countries
Mother
separated
country.
by a common language.
but it reminds me of that. What is that? Hot Fuzz or whatever, where they had the 3 interpreters for the guy that goes up, and then he got the dog, and it's like, well, he's got a license for that one, and they're all the cops. Them guys, they are so funny. And he's like, I was just a pile of junk, and he's like, and then it starts ticking. He's like, and the guy's like, fuck, I don't need a translator no more. The thing's going to blow up there. Like, but it kind of reminds me, and I'm from Bristol. And the one guy the old cop that they had put back in the car was the one who spoke the Bristol accent. And I'm thinking, I need to go find a motherfucker from Hot Fuzz to interpret for me. And I'm like,
Yeah,
but
from what I understand, the
I'm like, wow.
Southeast and the Northerners don't understand each other.
No, it's like no. And what is it?
And then
The
you've got the
Welsh.
ones out west and out east, and they talk completely different because they start talking like this, and then everybody gets really confused as to what they're saying.
And then
I
you
wonder
have the Welsh.
Yeah, the Welsh. That's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
Welsh.
It's like, oh bloody what have you? And it's just sound like
You
they got.
look like a 1950s mechanic today, Jason. I'm
He's
just
he's working on
Well,
the bus.
I was
To be fair, you got
installing
the
a
people
heavy
behind
duty
you as
sway
well.
bar
But
I wasn't I was
wanna
installing
say-
a heavy duty sway bar on Herbie today.
I did
Yeah,
see your
Herbie.
metal ladies outside, and I just thought certainly you need another car in there. Just fit, it would fit lovely.
You know,
The Herbie. Yeah. Got to look at Herbie.
Wendy, let me
It's
let me
all
try
around
to
you.
give you a visual of just how little space there is in this 2-car garage.
Move one out.
Yeah.
That's how bad I
No.
am. As soon as you came on,
Yes.
I spotted the car.
Yeah.
I spotted
yeah.
the classic immediately.
Yeah.
That's how bad
Herbie.
I am.
That's what I'm saying. Herbie. Everybody loves Herbie. Herbie
No,
is.
no, I don't. I actually don't like Beatles. I really
You don't like Herbie? Oh
Herbie.
Lord.
Beatles. No, I do not.
Oh, Wendy, this is going to be problematic.
Is it going to be a problem?
If you don't like Beatles, it might be problematic. I'm just saying.
Where-
Yeah,
Or
because
when
he's
you
obsessed.
say-
Yeah. He's obsessed with Beatles. Yeah.
I'm not obsessed. I'm passionate about. It's a difference.
Passionately obsessed. Yeah.
The parts and my bank account might disagree with
I know.
my assessment,
Yeah,
but
so you
I
look
do
at
like
the
my
party,
ladies.
I will not financially recover from this purchase.
I do like my
right,
ladies.
this
large,
one,
large, and I
this
have
one's
to be honest.
going to be the interesting one
That's pretty.
because I built Herbie 20 years ago. I got Henry J as I call this one in 19 after I got back from Afghanistan. And it has the original flathead V8 in it. It's still 3 on the tree, manual shift. The flathead
Yeah.
needs to be gone through. She needs to be
All you
gone
need to
through.
do
And
is turn
yeah.
the cat round and put a bit of grease or something on your face, and it looks
Yeah.
like the whole 1950s persona there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Get him to little cover halls. It comes
Hello,
out.
ma'am. What can do? You need a servicing? Does your car need servicing?
Yeah,
That sort of thing.
That's it.
That-
You got
You,
it's like, do you want me to top it
are
off
you going
for
to
you?
check my dipstick?
Yeah, that's it.
I need
Do you-
it to go down a long way.
Madam, do you need your fluids checked or topped off?
Yeah, because I think I'm running a bit dry.
Yeah. All right, Lightning McQueen. Or Lightning McQueen over there. Yeah. Radiator
Jesus
Falls.
H. Criminelli.
What is, he reminds me of
I have
Lightning
I have
McQueen.
known Jason a long time. I can get away and say that.
I'm curious, Wendy.
Yes.
Need your rear end serviced?
Yeah. This is the fun part of Wicked Women, the afterglow part.
Darling, my rear end needs a lot of TLC. So basically, yeah, of course.
You can rebuild one of them cheap now.
Do I, need to give the boot a check?
Yeah, get the.
Do you mind
It's
if
a
I lift
very-
up your bonnet?
Well, once you put your hands in and you try and find the connection to open the bonnet, you'll find yourself a whole new wonderland to play with.
As long as you don't jump on the bonnet because you're obsessed with the car, you're
I
good.
will never jump on my bonnet.
Yeah, as long as you don't jump on the
I
bonnet.
think the worst one would be like, oh yeah, I'm really excited to get under this hood. Hey. An inline 6.
Yeah.
It's got V8 badging on it. It's the inline 6.
So say it's a stuff. Yeah.
When you've known each other a long time, you can get away and say stuff. I'm telling you, and we do. We've known each
What is it? What is it you
Boundaries
said
are a
long
little
time-
different with folks you haven't known. So anybody out there obsessed, you need to understand this.
We've
This is
known each
new.
other a long time.
We
What is it?
have this kind of a relationship where we can boundaries.
My cheeks hurt.
Yeah. Oh. Wendy
Yeah, well,
told me a
I'm
long time
sure
ago.
if I was out over in the United States, you'd be actually singing a different song. So
Yeah. What is it you told me a long time ago? We flirt for Britain or the United States. We
absolutely, the Carry
Yeah.
On movies, Benny Hill, that kind of stuff. British,
Yeah.
brilliant.
that's it. And that's what I say. And you gotta have fun. And I think at the end of the day, people are obsessed with everything now. When's my TV show going to come back on? What's politics and everything.
It's all
If people could,
dopamine, man.
it's it, you know.
I mean, we
and I-
didn't
and I-
even touch on series, TV series, and things like that. The
It's
obsession
it,
that comes through
and
that.
you know, and people get so emotionally overloaded from information overload that it breaks something, you know, chemically in their brain. And I always said, you know, if people could move back a little bit and just have, like you said, like a fruity or interesting conversation with somebody that you can talk to, the world would be a better place.
Well, you know, it's hard for me to obviously like coach.
So
for the
this
rest
this
of
is
my
for
life
Georgie.
because,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
Jason said
Engine
he was
corn. What's up?
getting his hands on my rear end. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I don't think I'm going to sleep well tonight. I'll be like,
Yeah.
woo.
Yeah.
But I have 17 and a half, you know,
Yeah.
for you to actually discover. And I'm sure you'd have your hands full with it.
17 and a half what?
Well, you know, what is she foot, darling?
Mhm.
What?
She said hers is bigger than yours.
Mine is bigger than yours. Yeah.
Not that we're having a measuring
it-
contest or
It
and women
doesn't
say-
matter how big it is, and that's never a
yeah.
complaint I've had.
It said
It's
no woman ever.
it's all about the appropriate application of skill and technique.
Oh, is it? Is that what we're saying?
It is.
I
And
disagree.
and then
with
also another one for Georgie there. There's the original flathead.
Right,
I actually
nice.
refinished the oil bath air cleaner.
Oh,
Yeah.
it. Well, you know, I mean, it's
Or
nice to
garbage.
see you in your natural habitat, and Michael, of course, like you've been fantastic tonight. Thank you so much.
you lie so well. Well, I'm so scattered. honey, that it's
No,
crazy.
no, absolutely not. You did really well. I said to him before.
I'm
the
just
show,
gonna grab my cup of coffee here and sip.
I
Yeah.
was like, Michael, stay on topic. And he said, I will. And he did. I was very impressed.
I even took notes. I even spelled most of the words correctly. Yeah.
And Georgie, you know, thank you. You were very brave at some of the stuff you were talking about. And I hope it helps because every time you talk about stuff like that, it gets a little bit easier, doesn't it?
You
Yeah,
take the
just getting
power
it
away
out
from the
into the-
asshole.
Getting it
You
out in the
think-
open
You
definitely
take
helps.
your
like,
power.
take
You
power,
take your power back, honey. You do. And you know, last week when you came on, I was getting a message. Who is the Sparky girl? She is so brilliant. She is, you know, and all this. And I think I told you earlier. You know, I said, and I'll Carlene don't care. You know, she's like, Carlene messaged me. She's like, who is the young lady Sparky? She said, she's brilliant. And you just popped in, you know, kind of off the cuff kind of deal. And some people has it and some people don't. Me, I'm still working on getting it because I've been hitting the head a lot. And, you know, and Jason, he's natural, you know, and that's like Scotty, you know, like I said earlier, you know, he's recovering, you know,
I have knickers on. Thank you very much. I am not calling this afternoon.
no,
And-
but
And on top of that,
Oh,
let me just
That's
say,
not the natural you met. Okay.
Georgie's actually in my bedroom. That's actually my bedroom behind her. That she's
with her telly,
Okay.
with her telly, with the
Yeah,
telly and the fairy light,
the dog's bed and
The
everything.
telly.
That's my
with the telly.
Oh,
In
your
my-
bedroom. That's the roof line. It's angled, yeah.
Yeah.
bedroom,
She's the-
yeah. So
She
she's
sleeps
coming
in the attic.
there.
She
Yeah.
sleeps in the attic.
Oi,
Oi, it's magic. It's magic. It's magic. It's magic. And
Sparky,
You know-
remember when it comes to those jerks and stuff like that, cool guys always walk away from explosions.
Never look at explosions.
Not that I'm not that
What
I'm
is it-
implying tasks with that. I'm just saying.
you know,
Cool
what
guys
does the
walk
combat
away.
engineer say? It takes shock and ignition to make it go off.
I just
Oh,
don't find Herbie
I
sexy.
thought it could
I
be P for
really
plenty.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything for me, Herbie. The other one's quite nice, but the white one, no.
Yeah. Barbara D said, "Oh yeah, look at
Come
that."
across the pond, and I will show you.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fun.
Oh,
It
What
is
did I come
fun.
back into?
Let's just say you make the car look good, Jason. Let's put it that way. But it's like maybe you
Said,
should.
yeah, Herbie really doesn't do it for me. Da, 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 da. And I'm just saying, look, you come across the pond, I will show you. Herbie is fun. You
I
will
like
like Herbie. You will
I
grow.
like-
Herbie will grow on you. All right, because that's
Oh,
what
what
beetles
is
do.
no woman since World War II that says, "Hey,
Oh,
let
actually.
me let
very
me go let me go get freaky in the Volkswagen. The people's wagon does not. You roll up in a 55 Chevy, a 50, 56, 57, even the Fords or some of the T buckets, and they're like, look at that.
Cool.
And it's like, no, I'm teasing you. Jason knows I love the bugs, but I got to play.
And then the bug rolls up. People are like, "Oh, yeah, we grew up having one. I did this." There's always a story. They'll stop and talk to you for 10 minutes about something.
But like I said, I'm giving Jason shit because, like I said, he's a brother from the Big Green family, and it's like, where are you going to the Volkswagen? Nowhere fast.
Oh yeah. Herbie will do 0 to 60 in. Yeah.
Eventually. Yeah. JD, please, can you still got the double beep?
Double beeps, JP, when you're out.
Double beeps. Oh,
Please.
yeah,
Oh,
all the time.
And keep your answer Disney, please.
Do I get the double beeps? As in, like, do people honk at me as I'm rolling by? The time. Yeah. Actually, when I was driving Herbie from Fort Leonard Wood area up to Grand Forks, North Dakota, and it's actually happened a couple other times too, but this one sticks out in my mind the most. I'm rolling along on the interstate. I'm 65, 68. I'm not pushing it, right? And I could
tailwind.
I'd get him up to 70, but I'm just not pushing it. And all of a sudden, this like minivan or SUV kind of type vehicle blows the doors off, just boom, hurtling by me. They get a good like 1/8 mile in front of me. Brake lights just go on, and then all of a sudden, they're right back next to me, and they've all got their phones up, taking videos and photos, and I'm just like, and they're all like, I'm like, yeah. It's about smiles per gallon. People always have a positive reaction to Herbie.
It's
Well,
like the excursion, when
I have a completely different story for that because when I drive the lady, I get, is that your car? Is that your car? No, it's,
I get that too with Herbie.
I get that. And also because she's so big and sexy and fast and sounds really hot as well. She oozes sex appeal and there's all those
Herbie
curves.
is fun and efficient.
No.
I'm good at what Herbie does.
That's it.
You can't argue out the two, right?
Look, if you want, we can talk. I've been wanting to build a detached garage. All right. We can have conversations. I'm willing to discuss. All right.
You know what I'm saying? PG-13, Herbie, Disney. You see the picture?
But you see, if you look right there behind all of my POL, there's a sign.
Jason's Herbie.
Yeah.
Like that. I give Jason shit out of love.
Herbie's like, to me, it's a Disney car, right? It's the love bug. I remember
back when Disney was good.
Before Fast Forward came along, and it was like, oh God, I've got to watch the whole movie now. It was like, I hated the movie. I hated the car. It wasn't sexy. I never wanted to have sex in that car in my lifetime. And it's like, if I want to have,
you understand the interesting things and positions that you have to do to make it work in the back of a bug. I'm telling you.
Maybe 20 years ago, my back's bad now, Jason.
It makes it interesting and fun. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm just leaving it at that.
If you can have sex in a Ferrari,
it's the truly lovely romance that was going on between Jim Douglas and that gal, and how Herbie brought them together.
No, I don't want my legs to be
if I'm going to be shagging in any Volkswagen, probably it's going to be one of the micro vans where I can put my legs out. All right, I do not want no leg cramps.
Exactly.
And the micro vans, I love the Volkswagen micro vans, which the Beetles are cool too.
I had one.
Like I said, Jason knows I love the bugs, but I got to give him shit because he's a brother.
To be fair, if I can in a Citroen C1, then you definitely can in a Herbie.
That's what I said. A Pontiac Fiero. That's what I'm saying. If you can get your freak on in a Pontiac Fiero,
the poor man's 380.
Hey, I was broke. I did it for the money. All right. I went by a different name. But that's what I'm saying. It's like, the bug has more room than a Pontiac Fiero. But that's the reason to drive an excursion. You know what I'm saying? They said, "Why do you have an excursion?" I said, "I could take a harem with me."
It's a Disney car. I'm sorry,
That's
but
what
it's
I'm
just
saying.
it's Disney to me.
You,
It's
you,
not,
can't- you,
know.
you know,
That's
and-
also what adds the mischief.
Oh, I know. I know
because
the porn.
it's
The porn
Disney.
yeah, the porn clips that he put in every cartoon from Disney. Disney was a bunch of whatever. But you never thought once. And Halloween's coming up, and I know we'll probably do a Halloween show, and
Yeah.
everybody dresses up. I would love to see Wendy as Elvira. Talking about your celebrity crush. But anyway, you never would see Elvira riding in the back of Herbie with her boobs out. Never.
Uh,
And everybody's like,
that's
oh,
because
you
Elvira hasn't
can't
met
say
me.
that. And Elvira, and
Just kind
that's another one that I seen her without the makeup on her, and I'm like, that's another one of them celebrity things. Is like she would have to stay in makeup and character 24/7, or I'd be like,
I mean,
well,
oh,
and she has red hair.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Elvira is
She has red hair. I saw her at Viva one year.
And what was the lady that played the monster, Lily Munster or whatever? Because she did a lot of shows. She's got like
Yeah.
this weird
I'd
whatever.
rather be Angelica Houston in the Adams Family.
Oh yeah. Wendy. Oh no. Was it Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. Wendy. Yeah,
I've got to be what's her name? Morticia.
Morticia. Morticia.
Morticia.
One
I
thing
can get
about
behind that.
the new Adams Family
will
type
get
deal.
the black wig. I've never done black hair, so maybe I will this Halloween. Because last year I did. Was it Harlequin? And it looked really cool. So maybe I will do the whole black Elvira.
You'd rock it.
What I'm just so jealous at is that Jason can just saunter out to his little garage and just have a couple of coffee and go, here's my baby. I have to go a bloody long way to see my girl. And then
He's
the
got coffee to
reception's
smoke. He's like,
out there, so I can't do it.
And you know what?
I can fix that for you, ma'am.
That's one of the reasons why it's amazing to be an American.
Uh,
Yeah. I want to start my own country.
easy.
I want to start my own country, but no, but you know what? I've never seen, well, I can't say that. I can't give Herbie no shit because we got a place here in Gatlinburg that's got all the star cars,
Disney.
and
I'm
there is
sorry.
a Herbie. Herbie is really, really recognized. You have the
It
18
was
band.
something like Christine or
Oh, dark, yeah.
Eleanor or something like that. I'd actually go, that's hot. Right, that's really
What is it? 66 Mustang? Yeah. Eleanor, what? 65, 66.
See, and that might be part of the problem, Wendy, is that we want to look at psychological things and stuff like that. Is
you
the
just
fact that
can't handle
you are
something
no.
We're
It's the fact that you keep passing over this reliable, capable.
I gotta go get something to drink, Jason. You
Ed
keep
Fang.
defending Disney. Yeah.
kind of thing, for
you-
and the obsession with hot, and you miss. I'm starting to think that the problem is not the car, Wendy. The problem might be you. Have you sat with this for a while and thought about
True.
these kinds of things and these dynamics? I'm just throwing it out there.
The
It's
trouble is,
food for thought.
when you know what you like and you like what you know, nothing else really comes up to it.
Right, but then your mind becomes closed off
No,
to
because
exploring
my
other
mind has
things.
visions of what I can do with what I like. I can take it anywhere, But the lady, when I take her out, let me just tell you, I would never christen my car. I would never christen my car because I wouldn't defile her like that. I wouldn't do it.
No, not her.
She's so
Not her.
innocent. Oh, but in Jason's defense,
Yes,
everything with
her.
Volkswagen is hot.
We
You know
do
why?
know we're still
There's no
live.
aircon. There's no aircon in the Volkswagen, so everything in the Volkswagen is hot.
Oh yeah, steamy,
Yeah.
sweaty,
Oh yeah.
fogging
yeah.
up the windows, handprints on the glass.
Yeah, because the defrost don't work
Okay,
either.
Let's put it to the test. Let's
Yeah.
ask everyone that's watching this still. Would you rather go out in Herbie, the Disney car, or the 67 Chevrolet Impala from Supernatural. Which
You
one?
can't help but smile when you're in Herbie.
It's amazing.
Oh yeah.
You can't help but smile the entire time you're in Herbie.
What's
Even
your
when Herbie's having an issue. Still can't I can't be mad.
What's your choice?
You know what? I've worked on a lot of Volkswagens, and they're easier. And I've worked on a lot of the Chevrolet Impalas, but I don't see any.
You have to pick one. No, you have to pick one.
Yeah. Oh, never buy a
I'm
car
biased,
with
but I
no
like the
radiator and a
Impala
gas
more.
heater. Pretty much. You know, Rapid Dog has got it right. Never buy a car
Michael,
with no
I'm going to
radiator.
give you
Which
3
has a
seconds. Pick a
coupon?
car.
Never buy a car with no what?
It says never buy
Impala
a car.
or Herbie?
Oh, you know me. I was here looking. I was calling the guy in North Carolina to find an Ariel for the Impala.
Ariel.
I'm Team Hunters all day long.
That would be one. And Georgie, may I ask your vote?
Oh, Steve.
Well,
Impala.
I'm afraid,
Oh,
but I must pick the sexiest car of both, which is
Yeah.
obviously going to be the 67 Impala.
yeah, oh yeah.
Ding,
And you know
two.
what?
Yeah, Steve says
That's
Impala
fine.
too.
Everyone is entitled to
And
their own
Steve,
opinion, and sometimes it's wrong. That's
Impala.
okay.
Steve knows the way.
Three.
That's okay.
Oh,
But
you
you know,
forgot Rapid Dog.
here's the other thing to consider. A
What,
person
gas
who drives a car like that
has a
isn't
toolbox.
compensating for anything.
I actually know Team VVV. Herbie's got personality, but you can't beat that 67 Impala. Ding number. How many's that? 4 now. 4.
But also,
And-
the
and-
Huntress
and-
does have her own personality.
She
She
does.
does.
She
Oh
does.
yeah. I always said. Everybody asked me, Michael, why do you?
But
give
the
your car-
Huntress isn't gonna
and-
give me a lift back to my flat if I get drunk off my ass. You know what I'm
But
saying?
the
At the
difference
pub,
is
I'll
you
just
will
get in the
respect
back seat
the
of Herbie,
Impala.
and Herbie will just drive home.
I think
No,
you'll
no, no.
find that's
Well,
number
It's
four.
it's a built-in DD, man.
You will respect the Impala to a point where you don't get rat-assed, so you can
Yeah.
drive her home.
Exactly.
But I
That's it, yeah.
know
You
that
handle
Herbie's
her
got my
with
back.
gentle-
If
gentle
I
security
tie
guard.
one on uncharacteristically, Herbie's got my back.
So true.
He's like, I'm there for you, man. I'm there
How many
for ya.
bodies
It's
how many
okay.
bodies can he carry in a boot? That's what I want to know.
Like the
You look
Impala
at
one.
yeah, you're talking about the Winstons or whatever, Supernatural. You know, when
The Winstons? Did you say Winstons?
yeah, they got
Winchesters. The
Yeah, whatever.
Winchesters.
Yeah, I tried to watch this. I promised Wendy. I said, I got Netflix. I'll sit down and I'll get up to date on Supernatural, whatever. I watched like a half a thing. And I was like, I'd rather go beat my head in the rocks. I cannot get into this. And and she's like, oh, did you watch it? And I'm like, yes and no. And I felt like a piece of shit because I told her, hey, I would try to watch this, and I'm like, this makes absolutely no sense.
I have.
That ain't how, that ain't how you kill a fucking demon. I know. And
I
but
don't actually show this picture very often.
It's
so
TV, man. It's
It's
TV.
a
You don't have to
blind-
worry about it being actually how they do it.
But you won't know the sex
Sense of disbelief.
Bring it up.
that comes from TV. That is the blue police box in Doctor Who. Not only you can go forward, backwards, sideways in time, and it's bigger on the inside than it is the out.
You know who else drives a Beetle?
I mean, I'm
Harry
just saying-
Dresden.
I'm
Harry
just saying,
Dresden drives a Beetle.
Yeah.
That is actually Jared. You can't see it very well. Jared, he was in the car. At the end of the day, we've had a unanimous. Everybody said Impala. So sorry, Michael. But
Michael.
No. I'll put you in a position now. I know you were torn and you didn't know which side to pick, but you definitely picked the right side. And I'm so sorry, JP. But
Oh,
basically-
I'm not. I'm not. You know why? Because I'm not compensating for anything.
neither am I, darling. Neither am I.
Oh, he said I'm in jeopardy of being banned. I don't know what I've
Oh my
done, Steve,
goodness,
but
it's so
okay.
funny. We don't often have a little laugh like this at the end.
Oh,
but it's
about not knowing about. But you know what? Wendy knows that the British TV shows, I probably know more about them than I do the
I'll let you off, Michael.
supernatural stuff. And you can ask her when they swap a doctor on Doctor Who, I lose my shit.
They do like all the time. What are you talking about?
And most of the time I don't like him for like 3 or 4 episodes.
I feel like you have a problem adjusting to change, Michael. Do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, yes, I do.
About the Herbie, if I was to just mention that the Impalas only had 4 owners, and the gentleman that owned the Impala is a Normandy war hero, and he also raced at NASCAR and fixed the cars at NASCAR. So the Impala was more than just a car. He bought it for his wife. She sadly died 4 years
You
later.
assume that I don't appreciate the
But
Impala.
what I'm trying to say is, like, she's got a history, personality. She's got a presence. If I was to
She's got a
put her in
pedigree.
the back now, you'd be like, you know,
I'm
she's
the
got a
third
real-
owner of this car.
I'm the 4th.
Then no, technically no, because remember, because it was
This is
titled.
TV. That was a great sell for Herbie, by the way. Personally, I just want Knight Rider.
Oh yeah, Kit kicks ass. But you think about it, because it was it because
I didn't see
what was it? He had bought the car for his wife, and she had passed away, and the family put the car in his name, right? So technically,
Team VV. That's how. Do you remind me who it is? Team VVV. Give me your name because I've forgotten.
So technically, you would be the third owner because he had bought the car for his wife, and she had passed, and they had put it in.
Yeah.
Then the broker had picked up the car, and you bought it and had it shipped over. So technically, you are the third owner because his wife.
Well,
in the barn-
it
in the-
went
in the
it went from
barn
her
time,
to him to who?
Yeah. to like a broker, wasn't it like a
It went.
broker?
It went from him to his friend who kept it on the in the garage. Then it went to a guy called Charlie Van Valkenburg who kept it. Who actually owns Pitbull products, and they make parts for the space station and also motorbikes and etc. And so then it came to the UK, and I'm actually in touch with the family of Edgar and Sarah, or Sarah, forgive me if I'm saying it wrong. Liz is his daughter, and she says, you know, I cannot believe my mum's car is in the UK and is still going, because, you know, we knew how much that car meant. Dad never wanted to sell that car, you know, he didn't want to sell it. So
That was a piece of her that he had left.
it's really important.
Jason,
And
guess
you know,
what?
it's
Guess what
interesting.
state
You
she's
talk about
from?
seeing your car show up other places. So when we PCS, well, when mom and dad and my brother PCS from Fort Lewis down to Panama, where I was born, they purchased a 1981 Volvo and a 1981 Toyota Corolla hatchback.
Thrifty
And we
parents, okay.
drove the piss out of those. And we kept that hatchback for years and years and years. We sold it to my aunt, my mom's sister, for $1 because my aunt needed a car. And then my aunt ends up selling it years later. And now my aunt lives in Cincinnati. And so we were back in Ohio visiting, and all of a sudden my grandmother's like, you know, I was out in Hillsboro and I was driving to wherever, and I got behind your Toyota Corolla. And they knew it was ours because there was a faded Panama sticker on the bumper. Like, so it was our 1981
There she is.
Toyota hatchback.
I'm just saying, I'm sorry, Alan, let me just get your comment up there a minute, 1 second. Where's his lovely comment? There she is. And I'm sorry, but that's sexy as fuck, and there is nothing else to mention after that. But the thing is, let me
she's a bad girl.
If you go off of sexy all the time, though, you're going to get let down a lot. Dependable, reasonably okay looking, always shows up, good heart, good spirit, never quits. That's what you really want in life.
What state?
My name is Alan. I found this channel via Cars as it happens. Please find the Dark Huntress on YouTube, because that is her channel as well, and you can find her under thedarkhuntress.com. He's researching famous cars to license for video games. Well,
Can you hear the
would be great.
I'm into that.
Soromatic Steve says it's so heartwarming. Who from NASCAR?
Yeah.
Edgar, who actually, no, he never owned it. He bought it for Sarah. Edgar bought it for his wife, and he used to race at NASCAR, and he is a Normandy war hero. And it's just a little clip about it. When he came back from the war, he lost his dog tags.
So he was racing in the heyday.
Yeah.
Oh,
When he came back from Normandy, he lost his dog tags. And when he was around, just before he passed, someone was on the beach in Normandy with a metal detector, and they found his dog tags and sent them home. Can you hear the thunder? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hi. Good. Team VV, hope you'll join us again. We don't often talk about cars, but you know, the Dark Huntress, we'll do a live on there. One of these days I will do a live on YouTube from her.
But talking about being an obsession.
And Team VVV, thanks for the shout out about Herbie. We appreciate it.
You know what I'm saying? Because
We appreciate people who understand.
that we don't cover is our cars. I'm obsessed with my Excursion. I love my Excursion. I'd make love to that Excursion. You know what I'm saying? You know that's my
Hey,
big
Mike, you know, you say that. Get on YouTube and look up the Mercury Mistress.
Oh, I think
And that's all I'm going to say about that.
The Mercury's was good looking cars, but Wendy,
The
has not
Mercury
told you.
Mistress.
Tell him what state your car resided in before she made the jump across the great big pond in a shipping container.
Alabama.
I love to hear her say it.
The one thing I've discovered about the Impala, she's a Royale. She's the top of the range. She's also a survivor. She's called a survivor because she's pretty original. Pretty much everything about her is original. I spent a lot of money on her. She is. I changed a few things, as in tires and alloy and stuff like that, but everything else is original inside. She's from Alabama, baby. Huntsville, Alabama.
Huntsville.
I grew up in Huntsville.
Ain't that where they got the space?
Rocket City, USA.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's where they train the astronauts that go crazy and drive across country in a diaper to take care of their boyfriend's lover.
Like someone called Eliza is asking you where your shout out is.
Oh, that's Eliza. That's Dave's other niece. And tell her we're talking cars. And here is your shout out. Appreciate you tuning in. It only took you a year to do it. But Lisa, I'm glad you made it. Yeah.
Impala, Alabama. That's right. She's a redneck.
She is.
Like that.
Just like me. Little red on the neck. You know, it's just.
So I've enjoyed today. It's been. Thank you very much for that. Congratulations, Wendy and JP, and some wonderful cast. Thank you very much. Yes, we're very, very proud of our babies. And you know, mine's not a Disney car, but there you go.
I built Herbie. Built, not bought.
You know what?
I have built mine as well. Took her apart, put her back together.
Hey,
Built, not bought. Built, not bought. The only thing I didn't do was lay the paint.
Did you know how easy Volkswagens are to build? When I first met Wendy, I had took a Volkswagen apart and had it in my yard, and she's like, "That thing needs to go some fucking where." Because remember, the body was over in my driveway. The bottom part was sitting over here, and the guy was like, "Mike, when are you gonna put it together?" I'm like, I was like, "No, this is your car, dude. I will tell you what you need to do." And yeah, but when I first met Wendy, you know, there was actually a Herbie that was in my yard that I could not get rid of. I had to threaten to like sell this thing off in parts to get him to come put it together to leave with it.
Been done it for quite a while, hadn't it?
Yeah, it had been there for a minute. So yeah. The Volkswagens are a dime a dozen. The original Impalas a little more harder to find.
Well, they are. Let's be honest. I mean, they are rare. The 67s are becoming rarer, right?
How many Impalas are they that do like shows or whatever in the UK? What is it, like 3 now? It's
Just
not
3.
many. Yeah, just 3.
Yeah, it's 3. There's Vlad the Impala, Carrie, and the Dark Huntress. And the Dark Huntress being the original and been going the longest. And
The original Beetle continued manufacture until 2003.
What was it? They've
So
still
from
selling
1938 to 2003, it was in production.
the little mustache car,
Yeah.
the little guy that could.
Sure.
And if it wasn't for a British general, the Volkswagen would have went the way of the dodo bird after World War II. But
It was a Major Ivan Hurst,
yeah.
and he actually basically saved his sector that he was in charge of because he gave the people a factory to go back to work to and start reestablishing their economy. And it was first imported into the United States in 1949, the first 2.
I'm just going to bring up this picture because I just wanted to show you guys. I mean, This is actually as we're talking about it, this is actually the original people. This is Edgar, and this is his lovely wife. This is a really brave guy, obviously, from out in Normandy, came home, bought his wife a beautiful car for Christmas. This is
Yep.
and every time I drive the car, I think of these guys for sure. And then obviously here we have, this is when she was at, you might recognize Misha and Mark and what's his name, honey, that plays Jack? I've forgotten.
Alexander Calvert.
There
Yeah,
you
yeah,
go.
yeah. They look
So-
like
It's
they
so
look like
small on my
ordinary.
screen.
Yeah.
I can't really see it on my screen today.
Oh yeah, because you're on the phone, right? So
Yeah. They look so ordinary. They don't even look like movie stars.
I've just discovered, like, now I know how Scotty kept bringing up pictures on his show. Oh,
too.
this is what you do.
Yeah,
Like I've
and-
just found it.
but no, it's that's like I said, we get obsessed with our cars, and they take on our personality, and that's like I said,
That's right.
and every car I give it a woman's name because I figure sooner or later it's going to hurt me and break my heart.
So
You know,
this
and I'm
is
like-
what she
and I'm
looked
like,
like when she came from Alabama. This is what she looked like.
She was still a
So
sweet looking car.
gorgeous.
Oh,
You know?
if you get the chance to go look at the Huntress YouTube page, I think the video is still up. They load her on the back of a rollback, and she's bigger than the little truck the guy brings to pick her up in the snow and the rain.
I'm just trying to bring back the other, bear with me a second, this other picture of what she's had a lot of, we take care of her as best as we can,
Yeah.
It's rather expensive these days, but she does look
It's rolling
amazing.
torque thrust D's
Yeah.
You what?
on for the wheels. They're torque thrust D's.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know. And obviously, let me bring this picture up. Where is it? Here we go.
And help us find an aerial, JP, because we cannot find a radio and an aerial for the car that's affordable.
Okay, so when you keep saying aerial, are you talking about a regular antenna, or are you talking about one of them nifty little wing ones?
No, the one like right there, right on her passenger side fender.
Yeah.
There's two kinds. Hers has got the long kind, because the one that's on us now, it's got the bubble on the bottom of it, and we need the long one that sets up on the fender. It goes with the curve of the fender. And I did find the radios that are like new old stock. They got all new parts in them, but they are
Retro sound.
Yeah, retro sound.
I
Yeah.
do need
That's what I have in
a
Herbie.
antenna for the Impala. So if anybody finds a 67 antenna for the Impala, I would be most grateful.
What
for
was it? The Impala place here in North Carolina that my car guy goes to. She's like, we can't keep them in stock. We can sell you a 66 or 65. I was like, no, I need a 67. And I sent her a picture of the car. I was like, this is the car. I know what it is. I said, I need the long one that sits on the side of the fender because it's about that long and it's all chrome and the aerial screws into it. And the reason I'm saying aerial is because that's what Wendy told me. She said, I need an aerial. And I'm like,
And
what are you
Sandra.
gonna
an
do?
area.
Watch
It's like, what?
TV?
I was
What?
like, an antenna.
Yeah, I go all hillbilly. I'm like, you talking about that thing that goes on your fender over there that let the radio play?
Do the thing.
But no, that time, but no, but original parts for the Impala or even the Bugs or any classic
So
car.
if anybody, I'm just going to bring up this picture, then I must shut us down because we've gone over time. Let me just bring up. This is
Oh, they love it.
myself with Misha and at the lovely Crossroads some years ago. And his words actually were, "My God, you've got a redneck here. She's a red," and I said, "Yes, she is. Thank you very much."
Oh.
But I was very lucky. I've met them pretty much, apart from Jensen and Bobby and Mary. I've yet to meet them. And
Tell them how many signatures that are on the sunshades in the Huntress.
We've got most of Supernatural. We've got Jason Momoa, Richard Armitage, Mitch Pileggi, the Hillywood sisters, Richard Dean Anderson, Amanda Tappin, Michael Shanks. Oh my God!
Did you get Tilk?
No, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Let's be honest, that was amazing. Jeffrey Dean Morgan. My favourite being Mark Pellegrino because I'm a bit of a sucker for the devil in it. But yeah,
A bit of a crush, bit of a
But it's been a work. It was a dream, and that's what I'm saying about it as an obsession. I fell in love. I was going to make it happen. I make other people's dreams happen, and
if you can see the smiles, and I have saw the smiles. I have been live with her, and you see the people coming up, and they see the car, and you know, they always say, you know, people know when you're faking. You know, there's no fake happiness, and even the pictures I saw. And Wendy's like me, you know what I'm saying? I've seen her put disabled vets and her service animals in that car.
I have, yeah.
And, you know, and being a veteran, just like Jason, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? The service animal is probably more well-behaved than the fat woman that jumped on her bonnet. You know, I'm still got a bug in my ass about that. You know what I'm saying? Because
I think the thing is, she's a dream maker. And, you know, one thing I said to Georgie this morning, you've got to leave a legacy of some kind when you're not just your children. You know, it's like, we're only here for a short time, make dreams happen. And if I can make someone's dream, I've traveled across the country and hoofing it on a trailer, first thing in the morning till late at night, cleaning it till my osteopath is screaming at me to stop. You know, at the end of the day, she's a dream maker, and we don't make a lot of profit. I'm going to be honest. Like, we don't do this for money. Whatever we make goes back into the car to take care of her and maintain her. My bank manager hates me. She needs a bit of work doing to her because she hates British weather. But on the whole, she's brilliant. And when I think one of the biggest things for me was when we had Mark and I would say the same story. We had a young lad come to see us at Basingstoke Comic Con, and he had an inoperable brain tumor, and he said, "I've come all this way to see the car," and I was like, "Get that door open, you're going in," and that to me was that meant everything. And I've had dogs in there. I do charity runs for I always say to people, contact me at thedarkhuntress.com. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Instagram. Is probably the easiest one. And if we can make a dream come happen, we will. We just did a wedding. We just done the little kids. Oh my God, it's Dean's car. Can I sit in it? That makes it. It's
that moment as well when they're stood there, because obviously, like the last con that you did, I somehow ended up working with you on it, and it's that moment where someone goes, "Oh my God, it's the car! Oh my God!" and you go, "You want to sit in it?" What? I can sit in it. It's amazing.
What was it? There's a video, and the guy is getting married. He don't cry for his wife. He cries when he gets to ride in the car to the reception. You know, if I was her, I would have been pissed. You know, he is more emotional about riding in the car than he was by getting married. Riding in the car broke him.
Let me see if I can bring that up.
And so like I said, I've seen her do amazing things with the car, and like I said, you know, the veterans with the service animals and stuff, and even the dog was shocked that he got to sit in the car. He's like, "Holy shit! I get to sit in the car." And it's like, you know, and you know, most of them are certified good boys or girls. You know what I'm saying? And and mine just came in here under my feet, so he's probably up to something.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to download one because with StreamYard it doesn't always let you play, which is a shame. But if anyone wants to have a look, please go and look at thedarkhuntress.com. And I'm not saying that to plug, but actually I do appreciate it's almost
plug. Like, subscribe, shower, plug. You know, and it's like
I do appreciate a car that is 60 years of age. It's come all across the Atlantic. I've never done anything like it in my life before. I did it all on my own. I'm going to blow my trumpet for a second. It was my dream. I did it all on my own. I never asked for help. I just saw her, brought her over. I put everything I had into her. And that's why I get very protective of her, because at the end of the day, she's not just a car. She's actually a piece of history. She also belonged to someone else who loved her very much, drove her every day until she passed suddenly. And at the end of the day, I'm just part of the legacy. You have these cars, you're guardians for just a very short while. Then you pass them on to someone else. And I'm in that position right now. Do I keep the lady? Do I, you know, do I sell her and go to Canada? And people say, oh my God, can't you take her with you? And I'm like, I wish I could. And it breaks your heart to think I might have to say goodbye to her, because whoever takes her over, if I do sell her, they don't need to do anything because I did it. You know, I did it. I set out and I did it. And I've done weddings, I've done proms. We've done charity runs, we've done press calls, we've done the Comic Cons, you know, just all kinds of car shows. I'm just very, very blessed. And if someone had told me when I was 16, you're going to own this beast, I would have laughed at them and gone, because I grew up with him. My brother was into American Muscle, and I was always under a hood, you know, as you guys would call it, under a bonnet with my hands dirty. And like, you know,
Is there any kind of muscle other than American Muscle?
it's always been American Muscle.
That's what I'm saying. There's, you know, like I said, like I said, I give Jason shit because, he's a brother. But you know what I'm saying? I can look at what's the little French three wheel car that turns over if you take a corner too fast or whatever, the little weird
Well,
car.
like a Citroen C2V.
Yeah, something like it. They look like a Chevette with three wheels. I don't think
Reliant Robin.
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't see me fleeing a bank robbery in a Robin.
No,
I do. I think you'd look fantastic.
go for it, Michael.
I'm too damn tall.
Nobody would be expecting that as a getaway car anyway. They'd all be thinking it was something else. Why? Think tactically, man.
I look back at one of the movies. We're talking about movie cars. I think, and what was it? But they had the British Mini Coopers, and it's loaded down with gold, and they're driving through the sewers.
The
of
Italian
London.
job.
Yeah, the Italian job.
Yeah.
And I got obsessed. I wanted a Mini. And then I sat in a Mini, and I'm thinking, I must be a hell of a lot taller than Mr. Bean because I just look goofy in it. I'm saying, but and they talk about American Muscle. They said, oh, you cannot run. And what was it? The big show where they go, oh, what is it? Cart. Shelby run into it and Lamar. They said, you cannot bring this big American VA over here. We'll have to put you in your own experimental class and stay out of our way. And they brought this big Chevrolet NASCAR that Hendricks Motorsports tricked out. And it's like, fuck you, hold my beer, watch this. And it's like, and the people was complaining. They had never complained around Lamar about the noise. And here comes this big American V8. He'd let off going down the back stretch. And the people was like, I think it's gunshots. I thought, Jesus Christ, did they surrender to us again? Because we brought this big, wide American, race car.
Well, it was an American race car that terrified the Italians.
Yeah.
And it starts with the Shelby Daytona Coupe.
Oh yeah.
Carol Everybody Shelby loves the GT40, but the Shelby Daytona Coupe, which is sexier by far than the GT40, that's the one that made Ferrari start realizing that, oh shit, the Americans are serious.
Yeah, it's what gets me, Carol Shelby, a chicken farmer from Texas, said, damn it, I'm tired of raising birds, it's time to go fast. And,
well, he was also a bomber pilot in World War II.
Well, it's been so much fun, guys. And we need to have, I'm going to see if I can get Shelley to come on, who owns Vlad the Impala, because she said to me, you inspired me to get the Impala, and I'm all about empowering women. That's why we started Wicked Women. And although we've got you lovely gentlemen that come on and join us, my dog might cut me off here. It's all about empowering women, and we need more women with these cars. I think we absolutely do.
Ain't nothing no sexier than a pretty woman with a car. And one thing that really chaps my ass is when some man rolls up and says, "Oh, are you guarding your husband's car?" It's like fuck you, dude. I can own this if I want.
Yeah.
And they're like, are you sure you know what you're doing? I say, no, buddy, I don't have a clue. And it's like.
But that's just the way it is. And I think the more women we get, the better. I just want to say before we go, Scotty, if you do watch this, whenever you do watch it, I hope you have a very, very, very fast recovery. Well done. Yes. Incredibly brave.
Absolutely.
I hope it all is all the way up now, all the way up for you, because you've been through so much, and we need you back on this silver screen and with your honey voice for sure. And hopefully Val will, I'm sure, be with us next week as well. Hope everybody has a really good week. I will see you guys all being well. Fingers crossed, next Sunday on Wicked Women at 9 o'clock from the UK. I'm sure Georgie will join us, and Michael and lovely
Yeah,
Jess.
yeah. Oh, there she is again. Boom.
That's just
But yeah. 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central,
and
2 o'clock
9
Mountain,
2
and
o'clock
1 o'clock. And 1 o'clock
UK London.
West Coast. Yeah, West Coast
All
time.
of us on Wicked Women, and I'm just trying to find the music to come out. Thank you so much for coming to join us, because there wouldn't be a show without you guys watching. And hopefully we'll find another exciting subject for you guys to talk about. But we must do women in cars. I think that's a really important one.
Yeah.
I need to have the lady behind me though when
It's
I'm
okay.
doing
What is it? Women in cars and the men who financially support them.
I wish I had nobody to support me.
Yeah, no. I say that, but I think it's funny. You drive this big American beast of a car, and here's Jason with Herbie going doing the double beat.
That's because I'm not compensating for shit.
But
There's
Jason,
a funny story that I'll tell you offline about the truck, but anyway,
in some things, size does matter.
because it's easier.
I don't
to
know.
get
I've
to
seen
London.
Volkswagens destroy Ferraris on the track.
It's a Ferrari.
Yeah, it's a Ferrari.
I've seen them shut down Big Muscle on the track too.
What did they have a small block Chevrolet crammed in the front of the boot?
Yeah, but
Nope.
see, when you look at the Herbie, you don't see something that the devil would ride in. It just looks like a nice little car. But when you see some of these muscle cars, you're like, I think the devil might like to ride in that car. That's the
Maybe.
thing about it that
What was it? Lucifer, the TV show Lucifer. He drove a Corvette.
yeah.
Well,
He
of
didn't-
course.
he-
But see, that's
yeah,
the thing
yeah,
is
I'm like,
the people that make these shows and these movies don't understand the nature of the devil.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, let me let the dog back in.
They're-
So
it's insidious. It's, in ways that you don't expect.
Well, you see,
Everybody would think a big, powerful, showy, flashy. No.
He might be in the old bug then. When you touch it and you run your hands through the metalwork, does she give you that little thrill?
When I run my hands across the metalwork, I think about the men and the women who stood at machines, stamping out steel and assembling cars and putting their own life and energy and sweat and blood and toil into them, and that's what gives them the personality just as much as the visual design.
Meet the devil, drive a bug.
but you know what I think of this, and
If I wanted to talk about the things that went on in the parking lot next to the school.
You
Anyways,
might want to cut your losses before a revote, because if there's a revote, who's going to win?
I'm not worried about a revote, and I'm not worried about anybody else's opinion.
Oh my God, I love you guys. It's been so much fun. I really am going to say goodbye now. Listen, please come back and watch this next week. Check out thedarkhuntress.com or The Dark Huntress on YouTube. You can find her as well. It'd be really great to get some more subscribers on The Dark Huntress, because we do videos. We do go live from there. You do see her in action, and it's like, just over 6 foot set. I think, yes, can I fit? So cool. And we do like 6'6", and we do like 17.5 foot. But please check her out. It would mean a lot. Have a great week. Have a safe week. Come back and see Val, myself, and everyone else next week. I'm just getting the music. Here we go, guys. Bye, darlings.